Yeehaw soldiers, it's your boy the Anime Stage coming to another video, and this is another fanfic reading of the Fanfic Legacy, this time chapters 29 through 31. So let's get into this. Before we do, first off, watch the community tab like a hawk. That's really important. Second of all, if you have any fanfics that you would like me to read, be it Naruto, DBZ, MHA, or any other series that you think I would be interested in, leave a comment with the name and a link to the fanfic so I can read it. I am thinking of starting a new fanfic series as well pretty soon, and it is one of my favorite fanfics of all time, Uzumaki Tales Return of Whirlpool. So stay tuned for whenever that releases. Third, after Legacy, you should also expect What If Kakashi Was in Uchiha Part 3 pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. And finally, follow me on Twitter, MSH4, Instagram, MA_stage4, and of course, join me in the Discord server, which is linked down in the description. I will give you all reasons to follow Shashino's at the end of the video, so watch until the end. And yeah, I guess that's about it. But before I actually get into this, if you haven't seen the last part or the last fanfic reading, which was chapters 26 through 28, I will leave a link to that in the description. And if you haven't seen the series at all, just check it out. It has a playlist and everything. And with all that out of the way, let's get right into chapter 29, Home at Last. Here we go. Chapter 29, Home at Last. In the busy streets of Konoha, we find three 14-year-old girls walking calmly and carelessly. All of them had bags in their hands, meaning they had been shopping. One of the girls had blonde hair tied in a ponytail and was wearing purple clothing. The other girl had an unusual hair color, pink. Her clothes were also of the same color. The last girl had black hair tied in two buns and brown eyes. She was wearing a Chinese-style shirt with dark green pants. "That was fun," Ino said to her friends. It had been a while since they managed to hang out all together. With all their team training, it was hard to snuggle a couple of hours of fun all together. "Yes, we haven't hanged out since the tuning exams," Sakura replied. "Sasuke-kun and Kiba were busy today, so I'm glad we took this chance," Sakura said. With Sasuke being constantly trained by Kakashi and Kiba being trained by his clan, she sometimes felt out of place when she was with her team. "Well, I normally don't have much trouble with my team. Shikamaru's a lazy ass. How he got promoted is beyond me," Ino said, shaking her head. "And then there's Choji, who is always eating. All they want is to be left alone, and Asuma Sensei doesn't give us much work after team meetings, so I have plenty of free time," Ino happily said. "Lucky you. My team is full of freaks," Tenten said, sighing. "Guy Sensei and Lee are both freaks, always yelling about the flames of youth. I swear they could pass as father and son," Tenten said, shaking her head. "At least there's Neji-kun," Tenten said, a bit happier now. "Neji-kun, is it?" Ino asked, teasing her friend. It was a known fact that Tenten didn't openly chase after boys, as she was more devoted to training. What? Tenten asked Serene and trying to hide her blush. "You have a crush on Neji," admitted Sakura said, joining the fray. "Fine, I like him," Tenten said, crossing her arms. "Tell us more," Ino said, giddy, wanting some juicy details. "Well, he's very cute and strong. I've had a crush on him since the academy, but he was always a jerk. But since the tuning exams, he's been way better," Tenten said with stars in her eyes. "I don't know. I just want to be around him, and since he forgot that fake crap, I enjoy his company even more," Tenten explained. "Aww," Ino and Sakura fawned. They finally got to crack her shell. "I guess I owe Hinata a thank you," Tenten said as she reflected on Neji's match against Hinata. "And then there's Hinata and Naruto. Who would have figured out that the supposed dead last loudmouth who would have hooked up with the supposed shy girl who had a crush on him," Ino said. "They hid their relationship from everyone," Sakura said. "All that time he kept pestering me for dates was nothing more than lies," Sakura said, sighing. "Don't tell me you're going for Naruto now," Ino asked in disbelief. "No, I'm faithful to my Sasuke-kun," Sakura instantly said. "Your Sasuke-kun?" Ino asked with a tick mark. Alright, girls," Tenten said before this could escalate, and they started bitch-slapping each other in the middle of the street. "But you gotta admit, they make a cute couple," Tenten said. Hinata and Naruto made a very cute couple. Naruto was loud, and Hinata was quiet. They were a perfect match for each other, like yin and yang. "They do," Sakura said, agreeing with her friend. Senju Hinata doesn't have a bad ring to it, Sakura said, smirking. Senju Naruto, head of the Senju clan. No wonder Sasuke-kun never got along with him, Sakura said, laughing. He's the talk of the village. He even has a fan club now. I heard he took on Akaze Kage and 200 shinobi with a single jutsu, Tenten said, shocked that Genin could pull that off. He defeated that Sam Biju and then went to help Hokage-sama against Orochimaru, Tenten explained. She only met Naruto in the tuning exams and he was the supposed dead last without any talent. I still can't believe that Naruto belongs to the most powerful clans in the world. The Uchiha clan and the Senju clan, Ino said, shaking her head. He's directly related to 3 of the 4 Hokages, and now his grandmother was named the 5th Hokage, Ino explained. She still couldn't believe that Naruto belonged to the Senju clan. Looks like all that yelling about becoming the Hokage ran in his blood after all. Grandmother? Tenten asked. You don't know? Ino asked, and Tenten shook her head. He's the grandson of Senju Tsunade, Ino explained, and Tenten squealed like a fangirl. Really? Tenten asked with stars in her eyes. Yes. What's the big deal? Ino asked, not sure as to why Tenten would react in such a way. Tenten scratched back her head in shame of such a reaction, squealing like a little fangirl. It's just, Tsunade-sama is my idol. I want to be strong like her, Tenten said, and Ino nodded. Maybe you can ask Naruto to introduce you to her, Sakura explained. I'll ask him when they get back, Tenten replied, happy that her role model and idol was coming to the village again, and to be the 5th Hokage nonetheless. How about we head to Hot Springs, Ino asked. They all had team training in the morning, and after a few hours of shopping, a nice bath will relax them. I agree. Let's go, Sakura said, and they all headed towards the Hot Springs for a soothing bath. It was their luck that Jiraiya was out of town. Not that he would peek on them. Right? Konoha's North Gate. 5 figures could be seen walking calmly through the wooded forest outside of Konoha. Well, 6 figures if you count the pig that was being carried in the arms of one of the figures. They were none other than Senju Tsunade, Kato Shizune, Jiraiya, Hyuga Hinata, Senju Naruto, and of course, the pig, Tauntaun. They had the same clothes except that Naruto now proudly displayed his new necklace. Naruto now had an emerald necklace on top of his black Anbu chest plate. His necklace was glistening and reflecting the sun's rays that escaped through the trees, making it shine. The necklace that once belonged to Senju Hashirama was now in Naruto's possession. It is said that it was worth 3 mountains of gold. Although the necklace had a very high value, he wore it because it belonged to his clan and grandfather. It was a family heirloom, so to speak. They arrived at the gates and checked in with the gate's eternal guards, Kotetsu and Izumo. Jiraiya, Senju Naruto, and Hyuga Hinata returning from a successful mission with Senju Tsunade and Kato Shizune, Jiraiya said, waking the guards up from their slumber. Oink, oink! And the pig Tauntaun, Jiraiya completed. It's good to see you again, Lady Tsunade, Kotetsu said. Tsunade hadn't been seen in the leaf for over 15 years. It's good to be back, I suppose, Tsunade replied, and they continued walking. I guess I'm heading towards the Hokage Tower, Tsunade said. Alright, see you later, Bachan, Naruto said, and started walking off when Tsunade called him back. Where are you going, Tsunade asked. Home, Naruto finally replied. No, you are not, Tsunade said, crossing her arms. I'm not, Naruto asked, confused. No, you're coming to live with me in the Senju compound, Tsunade said, and Naruto raised an eyebrow. Wasn't half of the Senju compound destroyed when the Kyuubi attacked, Naruto asked, confused. My bad, Kurama said, and Naruto's sweat dropped at the casual response. Yes, but everything was rebuilt, someone answered. They all turned around to see Hiruzen walking towards them, smoking on his pipe. Tsunade-chan, it's good to see you again, Hiruzen said, hugging her old student. Not that he would tell her she was old. He hadn't seen her or heard her from her since the last time she was in the village, which was over 15 years ago. You too, Sensei, Tsunade replied and stepped back, grabbing him by the collar. But you have a lot to explain, Tsunade said, almost growling. What are you talking about? Hiruzen asked, confused. She was being all nice, now she was glaring daggers at him. You sent a letter telling me that Naruto was dead, Tsunade said, fuming. No, I did not, Tsunade. You're mistaken, Hiruzen explained. How about we take this to the office, Jiraiya stressed as the conversation was starting to get loud. Fine, Tsunade said. Hokage's office. Explain, Tsunade-chan, Hiruzen said, trying to get to the end of this. I got a letter from you with your signature and stamp saying that Naruto didn't survive the attack, Tsunade explained, and Hiruzen sighed. I never sent you any letter. I tried to find you and even told Jiraiya to try and get a hold of you, Hiruzen explained, and Tsunade scoffed. Psst, then how do you explain the letter, Tsunade asked. It was obviously fake. Do you still have it, Hiruzen asked, and Tsunade shook her head. Without it, we will most likely never find a culprit, Hiruzen sighed. It doesn't matter anymore, Naruto said. I have her now, and that's the only thing that matters, Naruto explained, and Hiruzen smiled. At least Naruto got some family back. By the way, Naruto-chan, you didn't answer about living with me, Tsunade said. One condition, Naruto said, and Tsunade nodded for him to go on. Hinata-chan gets to live with us, Naruto said. Of course, but no funny business until you are older, Tsunade stressed, and they both blushed. Besides, it will make it easier for me to teach her if she's living with us, Tsunade explained, and Naruto nodded. Well, then it's decided. I'm going to go pack then, Naruto said, and he was about to walk off with Hinata when he was interrupted again. Too bad you can't go, Naruto-kun. You're the clan head of the Senju, remember? Hiruzen asked, and Naruto nodded. I'm summoning the council, and as such, you must attend, Hiruzen explained, and Naruto paled. He never thought of that, and being a clan head made it mandatory to attend every single council meeting. Fine, let's get this over with, Naruto replied and turned to Hinata. How about you go home and get started, and I'll join you when this is over, Naruto said. Might as well. See you later, Hinata replied, and pecked his cheek before leaving. Anbu, Hiruzen called out, and an Anbu dropped from the ceiling kneeling in front of him. Summon the council, Hiruzen ordered, and the Anbu vanished. Council meeting. Half an hour later, everyone was gathered at the council meeting. All the clan heads were there, including the new head of the Uchiha clan, Sasuke. We are gathered here today so I can formally present my successor. Again, Hiruzen said. I name Senju Tsunade as my successor to the place of Godaime Hokage, Hiruzen stated, and wait for the council's reaction. I, Aburame Shibi, head of the Aburame clan, support the decision, Shibi said, getting up from his position and addressing Hokage. I, Hyuga Hiyashi, head of the Hyuga clan, support the decision, Hiyashi said. I, Nara Shikaku, head of the Nara clan, support the decision, Shikaku said. I, Yamanaka Inoichi, head of the Yamanaka clan, support the decision, Inoichi said. I, Akamichi Chosa, head of the Akamichi clan, support the decision, Chosa said. I, Uchiha Sasuke, head of the Uchiha clan, support the decision, Sasuke said. I, Senju Naruto, head of the Senju clan, support the decision, Naruto said, giving a thumbs up to his grandmother. I, Mitokado Hamura, personal advisor, support the decision, Hamura said. I, Utatane Koharu, personal advisor, support the decision, Koharu said. I, Shimura Danzo, personal advisor, reject the decision, Danzo said, but no one paid attention to him. I, Haruno Mibuki, head of the civilian council, support the decision, Mibuki said. Then, it's decided, the Hokage said, rising from his seat. Senju Tsunade, you are hereby appointed as Godaime Hokage, Hiruzen said, handing her the hat. Thank you, Sensei, Tsunade said, placing the hat on her head. Keep it warm for me, Naruto said, and everyone minus Sasuke, who was too cool for that, chuckled at the comment. I promise that from now on, I'll protect this village from all enemies, foreign or domestic, for I am Senju Tsunade, Godaime Hokage, Tsunade said, and everyone bowed to new Hokage. Everyone left the room soon after Tsunade's proclamation, and Naruto turned to the pervert who had been listening to the meeting without anyone knowing, except Naruto, who was the censor. Arrows sounding, Naruto said, and Jiraiya stepped out from the shadows. Are you busy? Naruto asked. I was planning on doing a bit of research, but what do you need? Jiraiya asked. I was planning on fixing Gaara's steel today, but I'll need your help since we will need to rebuild it completely, Naruto said, and Jiraiya nodded. He decided it was better to fix the steel now since Shikage might be unleashed and destroy the hot springs. Ba-chan, can we get a release form for the Saiyan siblings, Naruto asked, and Tsunade turned to Hiruzen so they could catch up on the events. After half an hour of explanations, Tsunade turned to Naruto. If you say they will behave, I see no harm, Tsunade explained, and signed the necessary documents. Here, Tsunade said, and threw him 3 Konoha Itates. Where will they be staying, Naruto asked, and Tsunade pondered. How well do you know this Gaara kid, Tsunade asked. I consider him a brother. He went for the same things as I did. All the hate the villagers threw at him, Naruto said sadly. Well then, bring him to the Senju compound. There is more than enough space for them, Tsunade said. Awesome. See you later, Naruto said and hugged Tsunade. Let's go then, Jiraiya said, and both left the Hokage tower heading towards the INT department. Have you decided on the seal, Jiraiya asked. I think I'll use the same one I have, the 8 trigram seal, Naruto said and Jiraiya nodded. His seal was one of the best around after all. INT department. Jiraiya and Naruto quickly arrived at the INT department and easily got in flashing papers to the Anbu guarding the doors. They walked down the stairs until they reached the lower levels where the cells were. They walked past a few of them until they reached the last one where Gaara and his siblings were. "Hey Gaara, I'm back," Naruto said, waking up Temari and Kankuro from their sleep. "Uzumaki Naruto," Gaara said, looking at Naruto. "It's Senju Naruto now. I'm taking my family's name," Naruto said, and Temari's eyes popped out of her sockets. "You're a Senju?" Temari asked, her eyes wide as saucers. "Yep," Naruto replied and motioned the Anbu to unlock the cell. "But you have the Sharingan," Temari refuted. "I belong to both the Uchiha and Senju clan, but I chose the Senju name," Naruto explained, and the Anbu unshackled Gaara. "Where's Baki?" Naruto asked. "He already was released and went back to Suna. We decided to stay with Gaara until he was released," Temari explained, and Naruto nodded. "Let's go, Gaara. We're taking care of your seal," Naruto said, and Gaara stared at him. "What?" Naruto rhetorically asked. "I promised I would take care of the seal, and I always keep my promises," Naruto explained, and Gaara slowly nodded. "Where are we doing this?" Jiraiya asked. "At the Namikaze compound. My father has a room in the basement completely filled with seals that block everything. That's where I train using Kyuubi's chakra. Otherwise, the village would riot when they felt the chakra," Naruto explained, and Jiraiya nodded. "Namikaze? Don't tell me young Daimyo was your father," Kankuro asked, and Naruto nodded, confused. "I guess you didn't hear the news. I'll tell you everything later," Naruto explained, and tossed some hitates. They quickly threw the Suna ones away and placed the new ones on. "Congratulations. As of now, you're all king of the Leaf Village," Naruto said, chuckling, while Kankuro growled at being a genin. Namikaze House. All of them arrived at the front gates, and Naruto swiped his finger to unlock the seals. They all entered the house to find Hinata running around with a few shadow clones packing up the most important stuff. "Hey, Hinata-chan, want some clones to help?" Naruto asked. "Sure," Hinata replied, and Naruto made 10 shadow clones. Each clone grabbed one Hinata and kissed her before going to work. Jiraiya never saw so much action in the same place and started scribbling furiously in his notebook. "This way, Naruto said, and led them all to the basement and into some room. They opened the door and all of them stepped inside. It was a large, round room, at least 10 meters wide. The walls were littered with seals, and in the middle of the floor was a kanji circle with the most complex seals around it anyone had ever seen. "Stay here, and don't interfere," Naruto seriously said to Temari and Kankuro, who gulped and quickly nodded. "Gaara, remove your shirt and lie down in the center of the circle," Naruto explained, and Gaara did as he was told. "Do you want the new seal in any special place?" Naruto asked, and Gaara nodded. "Can I have it in the stomach like you?" Gaara asked, and Naruto nodded. "Ready, Gaki?" Jiraiya asked, and Naruto nodded. Naruto placed his hand on Gaara's stomach and channeled chakra, converting it to ink. The ink erupted from his hand and spread through Gaara's stomach. "Haki no Fun Shiki, a trigram seal," Naruto said, and all the kanji started slivering into a focus point. The ink started to spin around Naruto's hand and started forming a spiral. Soon after the spiral was formed, the remains of the ink formed scribblings around the spiral, finalizing the seal. "The easy part is done," Naruto said as he completed the new seal. Now all they need to do is crack the old seal and switch Shikaku into the new seal. "You hold the old seal while I transfer Shikaku over to the new one," Naruto said, and Jiraiya nodded. At the sidelines, Kankuro could only gulp when he heard Naruto saying he was going to switch Shikaku between seals. What if he escapes? Kankuro thought, scared out of his wits. Naruto already defeated him once. He can do it again. I hope, Kankuro thought, as Naruto was preparing for the final procedure. "This might feel a little uncomfortable," Jiraiya said, and channeled a great amount of chakra into his free element seal, completely shattering it. Shikaku's chakra instantly started bubbling, but Jiraiya managed to keep it contained around Gaara's neck. "Do it," Jiraiya said, and Naruto placed one hand on Gaara's neck and another on his stomach, and he began transferring the chakra into the new seal. "Fun! Seal," Naruto said, and funneled all the Shikaku's chakra into the new seal. The procedure only took about 5 minutes since he only had to shift it and not remove it. Naruto finalized the chakra transfer by closing the seal and transferring the key over to Gaara while explaining the works of the new seal. "It's done," Naruto said, and both Kankuro and Temari rushed towards Gaara, who was now sleeping peacefully. "He's sleeping," Temari said. "Of course he is," Naruto said, getting up. "The seal he has is the same as mine, and it was developed by my father," Naruto explained. "He hasn't slept since he was born," Temari said, caressing his brother's face. "He seems so peaceful in his sleep." "Thank you," Temari said, and hugged Naruto while Kankuro patted his back. "You're welcome," Naruto said. "Take him to the Senju compound. My grandmother said you guys are welcome to stay there with us," Naruto said, and they nodded. "I'm off," Jiraiya said, and disappeared in a puff of smoke. "Damn pervert," Naruto muttered under his breath and led everyone out of the house. He gave Temari and Kankuro directions toward the Senju compound since he now had another pervert to look for. See you guys later, Naruto said, and activating his EMS, he swirled away. Damn, that was awesome, Kankuro said. Memorial Stone. Kakashi was once again drying himself in regret at the Memorial Stone. Even after Naruto had told him that he should put the past where it belonged, it seemed that he still couldn't. Kakashi was once again lost in his thoughts when he noticed a small swirl appear next to him. He instantly knew who it was, as the swirl was very distinctive. Yo, Naruto, Kakashi said, greeting him. You're still here, Naruto said as he stood in front of the Memorial Stone and did a quick prayer in honor of the deceased souls. Yes, I am, Kakashi simply said. I know what happened since you told me, but is it really for the best to pity yourself so much? I know you regret not being there for them, but you have to let it go, Naruto said, and Kakashi sighed. Easier said than done, Kakashi said. So, what brings you here, Kakashi said, trying to change his mood as he didn't particularly want to talk about them. I have the seal for your Sharingan eye, Naruto said, and Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Really? Kakashi asked, surprised, to which Naruto nodded. So, what do I need to do, Kakashi asked. Nothing. Just sit down since you are taller than me, Naruto said, and Kakashi chuckled and sat down on the ground. Do you need Jiraiya's help, Kakashi asked. He's busy, Naruto replied as he thought of what the pervert was currently doing. Shinaro! A voice echoed through the whole village, but it seemed to originate at the hot springs. Naruto looked up to the sky and managed to see a mop of spiky white hair flying while crying anime tears. He never learns, Naruto thought, sighing. Close your eye while I draw the seal, Naruto said, and Kakashi did as he was told. He removed his hitate and kept his Sharingan eye closed. Naruto placed 2 fingers on his left temple and started leaking the kanji. The seal twisted itself around his eyeball in a swirl pattern above his eyelid. Fuin. Seal, Naruto said, and the seal glowed momentarily, before cutting all the chakra into his eye, transforming into a pitch black eye that coincidentally matched his other one. How does it feel to see color with both eyes, Naruto asked, as Kakashi gently rubbed his eye to get rid of a small itch. It worked, Kakashi said in fascination. The eye is no longer draining my chakra and I can see perfectly, Kakashi said, standing up. Good, now let's try to activate the Sharingan. Channel chakra into the seal on your left eyelid and it should activate, Naruto said. Kakashi channeled a small amount of chakra to the seal to deactivate it, and the Sharingan flared to life. Naruto tried to punch Kakashi very quickly and out of nowhere, but Kakashi managed to predict it. Good. Since the Sharingan is working properly, Naruto said, and activated his own Sharingan to analyze the seal's interaction with Kakashi's chakra network. Naruto noticed that Kakashi's chakra coils behind his eye were abnormally large. Your eye's chakra coils are extremely well developed. They come close to matching mine, Naruto said out loud. It's no surprise. The Sharingan has been active for years, Kakashi said, shrugging his shoulders, but Naruto didn't think just that would have affected so much. Rin sacrificed herself, forcing me to kill her, Naruto remembered when he talked about Kakashi's teammates. Kurama, do you think it's possible for a non-Uchiha to awaken the Mangekyo, Naruto asked his partner?
It's a good question. The activation of the Mangekyo affects the body as a whole, and for someone who is an Uchiha, it's difficult to say.
Kurama replied, and Naruto brought his hand to his chin. Kakashi-sensei, can you do me a favor and channel more chakra into your eye, Naruto asked. And Kakashi shrugged his shoulders and did just that. His Sharingan eye started glowing and spinning and seemed to want to start merging his kamas. A bit more, Naruto said, and Kakashi channeled more chakra into his eyes. Slowly but surely, the Sharingan started spinning and the kamas started stretching and fusing together. Just as I thought, Naruto said, looking at Kakashi's Sharingan, which had turned into a Mangekyo. Is something wrong? Kakashi asked, slightly scared that he would lose the only thing that connected him to Obito. You have a Mangekyo, Naruto said, and Kakashi's jaw dropped. Kakashi calmed himself and noticed that his perception with the Sharingan had increased. He now could see further and with more detail. How is it possible? Kakashi asked, confused. Well, it's obviously a half-blood Mangekyo, but it's one nonetheless. I didn't think it was possible for non-Uchiha to awaken, Naruto explained, and they both headed towards the nearby lake so Kakashi could take a look at his new eye. Looks like you got a brand new tool, Naruto said, chuckling at Kakashi, who was gaping like a fish. What can it do? Kakashi suddenly asked. He seemed like a kid on a sugar rush. Each Mangekyo has his own abilities. I know how to use 3 of them, and I can teach you them, but if you can use them depends on your eye, Naruto explained. Kakashi nodded. Another thing. These techniques require much more chakra than the standard Sharingan, Naruto said, and Kakashi nodded. Also, and this is very important, Naruto said with a serious tone, your eye belongs to a half-blood, which means the more you use your Mangekyo, the more your sight is affected. So you should leave it as a last resort, Naruto said, and Kakashi nodded, making a mental note on the implications of using his new eye. I can start teaching you now, or are you busy? Naruto asked, but Kakashi shook his head, getting ready to try out his new eye. Let's begin with Kamui. Sundown Senju Compound. Naruto and Kakashi had spent the rest of the afternoon practicing their eyes. Naruto was using his Mangekyo and constantly spamming Amaterasu to further increase his power while reducing the cast time. All the while, he was also teaching Kakashi how to use his powers. Of all the free powers that Naruto had, Kakashi only managed to learn Naruto's Kami, and that was only partially. Kakashi could activate his Kami to send objects to his own dimension, but couldn't send his own body. Naruto quickly realized that he needed both eyes to be able to dematerialize his body. Naruto explained to Kakashi that he used his left eye for long-range Kamis while he used his right eye for making himself intangible and close-range Kamis. Based on these facts, it looked like Kakashi had received a long-range eye. In the end, it didn't matter. Kakashi had still received a very powerful gift, but this one was meant for only killing. Kakashi could transport objects into his dimension, but somehow he couldn't bring them back. Anything that was transported to his dimension would remain there for all eternity. Naruto channeled the remains of his chakra and used his Kami to go towards the Senju compound. When you spend half a day spamming Amaterasus, you tend to exhaust yourself. At least he got his control better using the black flames. Naruto arrived near the compound gate and stayed there, astonished at the sheer magnitude of the place. The damn compound seemed to go on forever. He never thought that the compounds were this big. Sure, he had seen them on the outside, but staying inside one really put things into perspective. "Oh, Naruto-kun," Shizune said as she watched Naruto arrive and went to greet him. "This place is huge," Naruto said, and Shizune giggled at his childish reaction. "Yes, it is. When the village was founded, the Senju clan was in its prime and had many members," Shizune said. "This compound has almost 100 rooms, not including bathrooms, storage rooms, and training grounds," Shizune explained, and Naruto's eyes widened. 100 rooms. It's bigger than the Uchiha and Hyuga compound, Naruto thought, observing the buildings around them. "Come on," Shizune said, motioning him to follow her. "We will all be staying in the main house that is large enough for all of us. I'll take you on a tour," Shizune said, and Naruto followed. Naruto followed Shizune, and she did a quick tour around the main house. It was a simple traditional house made of wood. It had 2 floors and a basement. The main house had 10 rooms, 4 bathrooms, and a very large library. Library? "I'm checking it out. I'll meet you later," Naruto said, blurring away from Shizune and heading into the library. Shizune giggled at him as he watched him run towards the library. The library was very large and was filled with scrolls. Naruto was pretty much drooling at the prospect of being able to learn so many jutsus. "Naruto-kun," Hinata said, and Naruto turned around to see his beautiful girlfriend at the library's entrance. "Can you believe how many jutsus are here?" Naruto said to Hinata, who giggled at his reaction. He was always a sucker for learning new jutsus so he could blow stuff up. "By the way, did you destroy the space bridge at the house?" Naruto asked. His clones didn't know anything about it, and Naruto was wondering if Hinata had destroyed a seal at his house that allowed him to walk into Namikaze compound. "I did. Don't worry," Hinata replied. "Space bridge?" a new voice asked, and Naruto turned around to see Tsunade walking towards them. "Yes. It's like a portal of some sort that I created that allows, once activated, to simply walk through the portal and end up at the destination," Naruto explained. "In my case, I created one that allowed me to go from my house to Namikaze house and back simply by walking through the portal," Naruto said, and Tsunade hummed and thought. "Can anyone use this?" Tsunade asked. She was already thinking of the application of such a useful device. "It was keyed to my and Hinata's blood, but it can be made for anyone." "Why do you ask?" Naruto asked. "Because maybe you could place one that connected the Senju compound to the Hokage tower so I didn't have to walk all the way there," Tsunade explained. "Psst, I don't exactly have space-time things like you," Tsunade said, scoffing at the other blonde. "Of course, Bachan. I'll do it tomorrow," Naruto said, and Tsunade left alone with Hinata, leaving Naruto to drown himself on jutsu scrolls. 30 minutes later. Naruto spent half an hour skimming through the scrolls trying to learn something new. After all that time, he came out of the library scouting the whole Senju clan and muttering profanities against them. In the whole library, he could only find jutsu related to earth and water jutsus. In almost 100 jutsus, he didn't find any fire or lightning ones. He sighed and walked out of the library and went exploring the rest of the house. "Naruto-chan," Naruto heard Tsunade calling out. "Come to the kitchen for dinner." Naruto was happy. He never had anyone calling him for dinner except Hinata. Naruto ran through the halls with his Kami phasing through the walls so he could reach it faster. Naruto arrived at the kitchen and saw everyone seated and waiting for him. There were Shizune, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Hinata, and of course his Saiyan siblings. He walked calmly towards the table and sat down to eat. He was finally home with his family. And that is the end of chapter 29. I'm sure you guys really liked that chapter. I know I did. And now we can move on to chapter 30, Fire Lord. So let's begin. Chapter 30, Fire Lord. Valley of the End. The Valley of the End. The place of the final showdown between Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. The place where Madara died and Hashirama emerged victorious. Or so everyone thinks. The valley remained pretty much untouched since the fight, except for the addition of 2 gigantic statues. They represented 2 fighters whose power could bring any country to its knees. They symbolized and honored those 2 legendary fighters that left their mark in history. The statues of Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, each one doing the battle seal, as if to this day they were still battling each other. On top of Uchiha Madara's head, we find someone sitting there. The wind carried his cloak, allowing everyone to see his clothes. He wore a black, long-sleeved top that also covered his neck and chin, a pair of black gloves, and a pair of dark-colored pants. On his waist, he wore a thick black belt with armor-like metal plates attached to it. He also wore blue nail polish on his fingers and toes. But from all that, the most distinguishing feature that he had was a strange mask he wore. The mask was a strong orange in color and in a spiral pattern with a single hole for his right eye. The cloak itself was a high-colored black cloak with red clouds adorning it. The cloak pretty much said that this someone belonged to the mercenary group known as the Akatsuki who, according to Jiraiya, were searching for the Biju. The figure seemed to be deep in thought, as anyone could see. He was gazing into the emptiness of the sky as if trying to find the meaning of life. Flashback. The same figure was seen walking through some cave in some unknown location. The figure stopped walking when he noticed 2 other figures approaching him. The first one had spiky orange hair with multiple metal piercings in his nose, ears, and bottom lip. But what stood out were his eyes. Silver eyes with concentric circles around the pupil. He was wearing the same black cloak with red clouds. The other figure was definitely female. She had blue hair, amber-colored eyes, lavender eyeshadow, and a labret piercing. In her hair, she had a paper flower strapped to it. She was also wearing the same cloak as the other figure. "We need to talk, Madara," the orange spiky-haired figure said, watching the figure with the orange mask very closely. "Of course, Pain! Toby's a good boy," Toby said in a child's almost high-pitched voice. "Enough of playing around," Pain said in a serious voice, making Toby instantly drop his childish ways and into a completely different stance. "We have some information that you forgot to tell us," Pain explained. "And what is it?" Toby asked, but now his voice was more deep and serious. "Kisame Itachi went to scout the Kyuubi Jinchuriki and heard the most interesting news," Pain cryptically said. "Don't play games with me and get to the point," Toby said. He didn't want to deal with Pain right now. "For starters, the Kyuubi claims to be Uchiha Madara's grandson," Pain said, and Toby's eyes widened. "Your grandson, to be exact," Pain said, looking at Toby directly in his eye, waiting for his answer. "And what proof does he have of that?" Toby asked, trying to gain some time, while his mind was running a mile per second trying to figure out just what was happening. "The fact that he is an uncounted Sharingan user seems to help," Pain said in a monotone voice. "How very interesting. If that brat has a Sharingan, that can only mean that it came from Minato, as Kushina's family is very well documented," Toby mused and thought. "That would explain how back then he knew I wasn't Madara," Toby concluded in complete shock. Even during his fight 14 years ago, he never felt or saw Minato's Sharingan. "That means I'm responsible for killing his only son." Toby unconsciously gulped. He hoped that Madara wasn't very attached to Minato, otherwise he would draw the short end of the stick. This will require some adjustments, Toby thought. "Care to explain?" Pain stressed out, leaking a bit of killing intent to further drive his point. "This doesn't concern you," Toby flatly replied. "Madara," Pain stressed. "He has Mangekyo and nearly killed both Kisame and Itachi, but he managed to escape," Pain explained. Everything was going so well, Toby thought, sighing to himself. "And the brat has Mangekyo and was strong enough to drive Itachi away?" "Serves him right," Toby thought, chuckling to himself. "I see," Toby said, still thinking about everything. If Madara had told him about his grandson, he would be able to mold him into his weapon. Even better, as his grandson was Jinchuriki, the strongest Biju. "Anything else?" Toby asked. "Yes. He seems to have the same intangibility ability as you," Pain said, and Toby was once again shocked. The brat was able to use Kamui. This would be a major setback, since anytime an Akatsuki member appears, he can warp away safely. "That will make him extremely difficult to capture," Toby said, shaking his head. "He should have stayed in bed like a good boy." "I want answers," Madara, Pain said with his voice slightly louder. "I don't answer to you. You work for me. You would do well to remember that," Toby said with a smirk on his face and his Sharingan glowing. "But I'll get to the bottom of this," Toby said, and swirled away, leaving a fuming Pain and the woman stoic at the encounter. "I don't like this," the woman said, breaking her stoic face with one of suspicion. "What proof do we have that he's even Madara?" the woman asked. "Everything matches Konan. His power, his knowledge, and his grandson bears the same Sharingan ability," Pain stated, but that didn't seem to ease Konan's doubts and worries. Let's forget about this for now. Let's focus on our current task and the preparations for hunting down the Bijou, Pain said, and both left the cave. And a flashback. Toei was knocked out of his thoughts when he sensed someone approaching. Although he knew very well who was approaching, he didn't let his guard down. A popular saying came to mind. There is no honor among thieves. Just because the approaching figure was a subordinate and belonged to the Akatsuki group, it doesn't mean he should be trusted. The figure was a tall, tanned, muscular man. He wore a white hood and a black mask, with his eyes being the only visible part of his face. Underneath, his mouth was stitched together at the edges and he had long, dark brown hair. His eyes had unusual coloring. Green irises, no pupils, and red sclera. His clothing included the traditional Akatsuki cloak and the forehead protector of his home village with a scratch in the middle, which symbolized that he was no longer loyal to it. He also wore dark red nail polish, and his dark green Akatsuki ring with the kanji for north was placed on his left middle finger. His entire body was covered with various stitches and predominantly appeared to be sewn together. He was Kakuzu, an S-rank missing nin from Takigaku, as displayed by his scratched Hitate. Is everything set? Do you have the sacrifices, Toby asks? Yes. They are ready for a leader to perform the technique, Kakuzu explains, sitting down next to Toby on the cliff. How do you know he'll tag along for the mission, Kakuzu asks. You forget that Zetsu has spies everywhere. His spy network puts even Jiraiya's to shame, Toby explained with a smirk. Zetsu was a member of the Akatsuki. However, he wasn't a fighting type and was more of the intelligence gathering one. Fair enough, Kakuzu said, agreeing with Toby. Do you remember your primary objective, Toby asks? Failure is not an option. He's crucial to my plans, Toby pointed out. I don't know why you need him, but who am I to question that? How hard can it be, Kakuzu rhetorically asks. But, how can you be sure he'll go along with it, Kakuzu asks. It's not as if his objective was hard to accomplish, but it was very tricky. There's a reason why pride is a sin. With the right incentive, it makes people malleable, Toby cryptically said, watching the skies. What about the secondary objective, Kakuzu asks. The funds are always good for the Akatsuki, and its tracker would also benefit our plans as a backup, Toby explained. Meaning, don't fail either, Toby said, leaking out killing intent. I've never failed a mission, Kakuzu said in a strong and firm voice. I'll be watching, Toby said, swirling away. Let's get this show on the road, Kakuzu said, getting up and heading towards the midst of the fire country. Kona, Senju compound, 12 hours earlier. It was a beautiful day in Konoha. It was warm and sunny all over. The sun was coming up, shining upon Kona as the merchants were opening their stores to start up a fresh new day. A few sun rays broke through the village's barrier and started waking up people inside the houses. This was the unfortunate event for Naruto. The room was dark, and a few beams passed through the window and hit him right in the eyes, waking him up from his slumber. He released a yawn and tried to shift in bed, but realized that he couldn't move. He looked down and smiled at his princess snuggled next to him, resting her head on his shoulder. One of the things he enjoyed most was waking up with Hinata next to him, feeling her warmth against his body, caressing her soft hair. They hadn't had much time alone in the last 2 weeks with his pervert of a godfather hanging around. While he was caressing her hair, she started to stir and slowly opened her eyes. She noticed that Naruto was looking at her with a warm smile. She returned the smile just before she closed her eyes again and placed her head on his chest, releasing a sigh of bliss and happiness. They stayed there for a few minutes just enjoying the warmth of each other, both happy they had each other in their lives. How do you like her new room? Naruto softly asked, so running his hands through her hair. He noticed that even though her hair was a mess from sleeping, she still looked beautiful to him, perhaps even more. The room itself wasn't overly large, but it was sufficient for a couple. The bed was obviously for 2 people. They had a nightstand on each side. A closet was embedded on the one wall with enough space for all their clothes. Their room also had a private bathroom and a small room they decided to use for scrolls and weapons. I guess it's okay. The pill's still the same though, Hinata said, giggling, and Naruto chuckled. The pillow in this case would either be his chest or shoulder, since Hinata would usually wake up resting her head on one of them. You know we have to get up, Naruto sadly said. I don't want to. 5 more minutes, Hinata cutely pouted, drawing circles on his chest, trying to persuade him to sleep and cuddle a bit more. How about I get a shower call to bring us breakfast to bed, Naruto asked, and Hinata quickly nodded. She was about to reply when Naruto placed a finger on her soft lips. Breakfast for a kiss, Naruto said, and Hinata quickly replied, giving him a passionate kiss. That will do, Naruto said, chuckling, and made a shadow clone prepare the breakfast so they could eat together. Not even 5 minutes later, Naruto's clone appeared in the room with a tray filled with juice, bread, and some fruit. Naruto sat up and easily placed Nana between his legs with her back to his chest. They happily ate their breakfast since they didn't have any major concerns. They didn't have anything scheduled for today, and as such they could enjoy the day or maybe get a mission. So, what do you want to do today? Naruto asked while smearing some butter on his bread and starting to eat it. Don't really know. Do you want to get a mission or something? Nana asked while drinking some orange juice. Naruto pondered getting a mission, but then he remembered that they were both Chunins, and as such, their sensei Kurenai would be no more. We're both Chunin, so Kurenai is no longer our sensei, Naruto explained, and Nana realized that what Naruto said was true. Right after Chunin exams and promotions, they both left on a mission, so they didn't realize that teammate was no more. What now? Nana asked, and Naruto shrugged his shoulders. How about we swing by Bachan's office to find out, Naruto said, and looked towards the clock on the nightstand. It's past 7 o'clock, so Bachan should already be in our office. Damn, we really overslept, Naruto said, chuckling. They weren't used to sleeping in as they had team meetings before. I didn't mind, Nana innocently replied. I bet you didn't, Naruto tried to say with a serious face, but laughed nonetheless. They finished their breakfast, and Naruto made another shadow clone to take the stuff to the kitchen while all the way muttering something about lucky originals. Let's get up, Naruto said, and was about to get up when Nana shifted her weight and ended up on top of him, pinning him to the bed. We aren't going anywhere, Nana said, getting like a mad person that made poor Naruto shiver. What are you going to do now? Nana teased. Naruto smirked before his eyes flashed to his EMS and activated his Conway. He faced right through the bed and reappeared in the middle of the room with a smirk. That's not fair, Nana said, throwing him a pillow that phased for him as well, making Nana pout. All is fair in love and war, Naruto wisely said, and Nana stared at him. She sighed and got out of bed. They both got dressed and left the Senju compound, heading towards Hokage's office. They need to find their statuses as of now. Hokage's office. Naruto and Nana made their way towards Hokage Tower and up the stairs. They reached the office's entrance to see Shizune by the desk. Shizune Nichan, you're Bachan's secretary now? Naruto asked, and she's not going through paperwork. Poor you, Naruto said, chuckling. Is Bachan busy? Naruto asked. No, you can go ahead, Shizune said, stamping on her paper and placing it in a nearby stack. Naruto and Nana walked up the door and entered to see Tsunade burying paperwork with Hiruzen nearby, smoking his pipe without a care in the world. It looked like Hiruzen left the paperwork build up when he asked Jiraiya to go search for Tsunade. Hiruzen would have liked to read his Icha Icha book, but it might prove dangerous with Tsunade nearby. Morning, Bachan, old man, Naruto said, greeting his grandmother and the old Hokage. Tsunade looked up from all the paperwork and noticed Naruto and Nana standing right in front of her. Hey, Naruto-chan, Tsunade said, and Naruto sighed. He couldn't get his grandmother from calling him that. On the other hand, Naruto called her Bachan, meaning she would be old, which she didn't like, so it was an eye for an eye. What brings you to my nightmare? Tsunade asked, and Naruto pondered telling her about Shadow Clones, but decided to hold it for later as a trump card. I'm evil, Naruto thought, chuckling darkly to himself. Actually, we are wondering what will happen to us since we are both Chunins and currently without a team, Naruto said, and Tsunade stopped her work. She brought her hand to her chin, deep in thought. For starters, Aburame Shino didn't get promoted to Chunin, and as such, he was placed on Team 10, with Yamanaka Ino and Akamichi Choji under Saratobi Asuma, Tsunade explained before picking up another paper. Regarding Team 7 under Hatake Kakashi, they'll be on hold until we find a gang to complete this cell. In the meantime, Uchiha Sasuke will still be a part of said team when not on Chunin affairs, Tsunade said, and both nodded. Team 9, Guy's team, didn't get promoted, so they would continue on their missions like the new Team 10. That means her old team is permanently disabled, Hina said. What about Kurenai Sensei? Hina asked. She'll be returning to her normal life as a Jonin until she decides to take on another gang team, Tsunade explained, and Hina nodded. Without a gang team, Kurenai would most likely be away from the village more. What about us? Naruto asked. I was getting to that as Tsunade started. Both of you will most likely be paired with other Chunin or Jonin for missions until we find a stable team, if any, Tsunade explained, and both nodded. What about Gar and his siblings? Naruto asked, and Tsunade got a tick mark from all the questions, preventing her from doing her work and enjoying her sake. They are Team 11 under Mitarashi Anko, since Tamari relies on her fan, and Kankuro on his puppet and poisons, Tsunade explained. I just hope she doesn't turn Gaara back to his crazy state. I kind of feel sorry for them. Perhaps killing them would have been more merciful, Naruto thought, shivering in his previous encounters with the crazy snake lady. Do you want to grab a mission while we're here? Naruto turned in Asanada. We don't have anything planned. Might as well, Naruto replied, and Naruto agreed, pumping his fist into the air. Mission it is. Bachan, do you have any mission for us? Naruto asked, and Tsunade shook her head in defeat. She was burying paperwork and had yet to decide on the newer teams. I guess I'll just pick up the new tunings and place them together, Tsunade thought, before shifting for the papers, pulling out the newer promotions. Shizune, Tsunade called out. Yes, Tsunade-sama, Shizune asked, entering the office. Get me Nar Shikamaru and Uchiha Sasuke, Tsunade said, and Shizune left to summon both shinobi to her office. What do you need those two for? Naruto asked, but he already had a suspicion. They'll be your teammates for our next mission, Tsunade said, and Naruto sighed. Hiruzen cringed slightly because he knew the history between those two. I hope Sasuke doesn't give me too much trouble, Naruto muttered under his breath. What was that? Tsunade asked, as she didn't hear Naruto. It's just that Sasuke and me don't get along, Naruto simply said. Aww, my little Naruto-chan's acting like a Senju. He already hates the Uchiha, Tsunade said, wiping a fake tear. Hiruzen and Nana chuckled, and Naruto shook his head at his grandmother's antics. By the way, you are both in the newest edition of the bingo book, Hiruzen said, throwing him the book. Really? Naruto rhetorically asked, opening the book. Let me guess. Iwa, Naruto said, and Hiruzen sadly nodded. Congratulations! You both have targets on your heads now, Tsunade said with sarcasm evident in her voice. Pages 112 and 113, Hiruzen said, and Naruto quickly found his record. Name, Senju Naruto. Age, 14. Alias, Konoha no Raijin. Konoha's Thunder God. Status, Elite Chunin. Village affiliation, Konohagakure no Sato, Hidden Leaf Village. Rank, S. Bloodline, Sharingan. Known elemental affinities, wind, fire, and lightning. Weapons, Uchiha Madara's Gunbai. It's a wide fan with 3 blood red tomoes on each side. It is a long handle with bandages wrapped around the base. The main part of the weapon is light brown with the edges being black. Abilities, Taijutsu, Join/Kage level. Ninjutsu, Kage level. Funjutsu, Seal Master. Genjutsu, Chunin/Join level. Summoning Contract, Fox, Jinchuriki to Kyuubi no Yoko. Other known abilities. Senju Naruto was seen performing both the Rasengan A rank and Hirashi no Jutsu S rank techniques created by the young Daime Hokage. He also has the ability to transform his chakra into golden chains strong enough to hold the Shikaku in place. Physical description. Stands at 5 feet 7 inches tall with long mid-back blonde spiky hair, which partially covers right eye, and deep blue eyes with 3 whisker marks on each cheek. Usually wears orange pants and dark blue combat sandals. He also wears a skin-tight black shirt with an Anbu chest plate over it. Known relationships. Uchiha Madara, paternal grandfather, status, deceased. Namikaze Minato, father, status, deceased. Senju Kushina, mother, status, deceased. Seiju Tsunade, maternal grandmother, status, Godaime Hokage. Hyuga Hinata, rumored girlfriend, status, Chunin, see next page. Bounties, Iwa, wanted alive, 50 million Rio. Suna and Oto, wanted dead or alive, 10 million Rio. Approach with extreme caution. Damn, they're all well informed, Naruto said after reading his page. Although I like my alias. Konoha no Raijin has a nice ring to it, Naruto said chuckling and handed the book over to Hinata. You do realize you just made enemies with 3 villages, Tsunade said with a serious voice? I know, though I wonder why Io wants me alive, Naruto mused out loud. Probably so they can skin you, Hiruzen said chuckling, making Naruto glare at the old man. What about you, Hina-chan? Naruto asked, and Hinata looked up from the book and showed it to him. Name, Hyuga Hinata. Age, 14. Alias, Shino Megami, Death Goddess. Status, Chunin. Village affiliation, Konohagakure no Sato, Hidden Leaf Village. Rank, A. Bloodline, Byakugan. Known elemental affinities, wind, water. Weapons, twin trench knives. Abilities, Taijutsu, Kage level. Unknown techniques that kills the enemy with a single touch. Ninjutsu, Join level. Very skilled in water manipulation. Funjutsu, unknown. Genjutsu, unknown. Summoning contract, unknown. Other known abilities, known to be able to disable Jinchuriki with some seal technique. Uses weapons coated with deadly poisons. Physical description. Stands at 5 feet 4 inches tall with Hime cut style dark blue hair and Byakugan eyes. She wears a cream colored hooded jacket with fur around the cuffs and hem. with navy blue pants. Known relationships: Hyuga Hana, mother, status deceased. Hyuga Hiyashi, father, status joining Hyuga clan head. Hyuga Hanabi, younger sister, status academy student. Senju Naruto, rumored boyfriend, status elite tuning, see previous page. Bounties: Suna and Noto, wanted dead or alive, 5 million, Rio. Don't approach if below high join level. Do not engage in taijutsu. I like my alias better, Hinata happily said, handing the book to Naruto. Shina Megami, huh? Naruto said and hugged Hinata. I guess I can't call you princess anymore, Naruto whispered and kissed her. Tsunade faked a cough and cleared her throat to separate the couple before this could escalate. Yes, you will have to be extra careful with bounty hunters as of now, Tsunade said. Even the lowest bounty of 5 million Rio is enough to attract a lot of attention, Tsunade explained. Yes, but I'm ranked as a Kagero Shinobi and not as an elite joining one. We won't go down easy, Naruto said, and Tsunade shook her head. Idiot. Don't let the fame get to your head, Tsunade said, and Naruto waved his hands in defeat, not wanting to be punched. Knock, knock. Come in, Tsunade said, shifting her attention to the door. The door opened and in came the brooding Uchiha Sasuke and the lazy-ass Nara Shikamaru. They were both wearing a tuning flak jacket and Anbu black pants. You called Hokage-sama? Shikamaru said, yawning. It was supposed to be a peaceful day for Shikamaru, but the Hokage had different plans for him. Yes, I have a mission for the 4 of you, Tsunade said. You'll be a B rank, maybe A rank, depending on the opposition, Tsunade explained, and they all nodded. Naruto-chan, you'll be the team leader since you hold a higher rank, Tsunade explained. No! Don't call me that in public, Naruto pleaded, and even the almighty Sasuke snickered. You see, you even made the emo brooding king laugh, Naruto said, glaring at his grandmother. You have a problem, Naruto-chan, Sasuke said in a teasing tone. Shut up, Baka, Naruto said, and Sasuke scoffed. Moving on, Tsunade said, diffusing the situation before it escalated. Your mission is to protect and escort the daimyo's grandson to the fire temple where he will link up with the daimyo. Since the 12 shinobi guardians are down 4 members, they can't spare anyone from their side, so the task falls to us, Tsunade explained, and everyone nodded. Call him in and tell him that I have an escort team ready, Tsunade said, and Shizune nodded. About 20 minutes later, a young teen walked into Hokage's office. He looked like he was about 15, maybe 16 years old. He had light blue eyes with short and straight black hair that ended just around his neck. He was wearing a white kimono with dark red edges. On the kimono were 4 designs in a different shade of red. This is Kenshin-sama, the fire daimyo's grandson, Tsunade pointed out, and everyone from Naruto's team did a small bow in a sign of respect. This is my escort team, Kenshin asked in disbelief. A bunch of kids younger than me, Kenshin said, and Sasuke scoffed. I'm a member of the Uchiha clan. We are not weak, Sasuke said with pride in his clan. I seriously doubt that. Wasn't the whole Uchiha clan massacred by one of their own, and a 13-year-old at that, Kenshin explained, and Sasuke's anger was boiling. Naruto decided to intervene before Sasuke shoved a Chidori for the person that they had to protect. I'm Naruto, leader of the team. I assure you, we are more than capable of protecting you, Naruto said in a formal and courteous voice. You seem even weaker than Uchiha, Kenshin stated on Naruto's side. What exactly was this kid's problem with them? He should know better than to underestimate Shinobi, as he should have plenty of interaction with the Guardian 12. Troublesome, Shikamaru muttered. I'll personally guarantee your safety during our mission, Hinata said, in a formal and stoic voice. It seems she still remembered all the harsh etiquette training she received from her clan. Hello, beautiful, Kenshin said, approaching Hinata. How did I miss you, Kenshin asked while bowing and kissing Hinata's hand. Naruto's eye was twitching, and he was considering running a Chidori through Kenshin himself. Hands off my girlfriend, Naruto growled, and Kenshin raised an eyebrow. Be nice, Naruto-kun, Hinata said, removing her hand from Kenshin's grasp. You dare talk to me in such a casual manner, peasant, Kenshin asked with a smirk. Naruto by now was releasing killer intent on the annoying Kenshin. Why was such a beauty associated with you? Kenshin asked, further angering him. That's it, Naruto said, and quickly placed a hand on Kenshin's shoulder and warped away into his kami dimension. Much better, Naruto said, and everyone stared at him. He just sent a daimyo's fucking grandson somewhere. Naruto? What did you do? Tsunade asked while everyone else was still staring at the blonde, who acted like nothing had happened. We're supposed to escort him, right? Naruto asked, and Tsunade nodded. What safer place than my personal pocket dimension? I'm the only one who has access to it, Naruto explained, and Tsunade shook her head. Get him back here, Tsunade said, and Naruto shrugged his shoulders. He used his calmly and brought him back to the real world. Where did you send me to? It was so dark and quiet, Kenshin said as he arrived and merely stumbled to the ground, keeping a safe distance from Naruto and started to suck on his right thumb while rocking himself. They will be your escort team. This is Naruto, as you have met, Uchiha Sasuke, Hyuga Hinata, and Naruto Shikamaru, Tsunade explained, and Kenshin nodded in defeat, embracing his fate. Also, Naruto, there's another thing you have to worry about, Tsunade said, and Naruto's team focused on her. Kenshin-sama has a bounty on his head due to his bloodline, so be extra careful, Tsunade explained, and Naruto raised an eyebrow. Bloodline? Are you a shinobi, Naruto asked? I have no shinobi training. I just know how to use chakra so I can control my bloodline, Kenshin explained, and Naruto nodded. Can you tell us about it, Shikamaru asked? Every bit of information was valuable, even as irrelevant as it may seem. It's called Meiton, Dark Release, and with it I can absorb, manipulate, and release someone else's chakra, Kenshin said while showing everyone the palm of his hands. In his palm was a mark that looked like two diamonds overlapping each other. Interesting, Hiruzen said. That is a very useful bloodline, Hiruzen said, smoking on his pipe. With the proper training and skill, this bloodline would render any ninjutsu attacks against the user harmless. Although sometimes it can absorb elemental attacks. I don't really understand why, Kenshin said, sighing, and everyone nodded. You have your mission. Get going, Tsunade said, and Naruto nodded and turned to address his team. You are the Hokage. Pack for 2 weeks as we will be traveling at civilian pace. Meet at the North Gate in 1 hour, Naruto said, and everyone left the Hokage's office to pack and start their new mission. Looks like Naruto-chan really did grow up into a good person, Tsunade softly said. Hinata really did wonders for him while he was growing up, Hiruzen said. Psst, and the brat is always stronger than me, Tsunade said, scoffing. Can you imagine how strong he will be when he reaches his prime, Tsunade rhetorically asked, and Hiruzen shivered. Naruto was a Kage level shinobi at 14 years old. What level would he be at when he reached his prime in around 3 to 4 years? And that is the end of chapter 30. Pretty good chapter, though it was a little short. In fact, so far this video has been a bit shorter than my usual Legacy videos. But if you look at the video's runtime and realize that I only have one chapter left to read, you can probably guess that chapter 31 is a bit long. And you would be right. So yeah, this should be fun. Let's get into chapter 31, Fire Temple. Here we go. Chapter 31, Fire Temple. Konoha's North Gate. There were 5 people near the north gates of Konoha. They were Senju Naruto, Hyuga Hinata, Uchiha Sasuke, Naruto Shikamaru, and their client Kenshin. Kenshin was the Fire Daimyo's grandson, and Konoha was tasked to escort him to the Fire Temple where he would rendezvous with the Guardian 12. Alright, now that we are all here, let's take this from the top, Naruto said, looking at his team. Supply check, Naruto ordered. 100 shurikens, 10 Fuma shurikens, 100 kunais, 20 explosive tags, 1 medical kit, 1 sleeping bag, 10 food bars, 10 food pills, and 10 soldier pills, Sasuke said. And Naruto nodded, turning to Shikamaru. Troublesome. 50 shuriken, 50 kunai, 10 explosive tags, 5 smoke bombs, 1 medical kit, 1 sleeping bag, 10 food bars, 10 food pills, and 10 soldier pills, Shikamaru said, and Naruto nodded. I have 100 shurikens, 100 senbones, 100 kunais, 1 advanced medical kit, 1 sleeping bag, food bars, food pills, and soldier pills, Hinata said, and Naruto nodded, turning to Kenshin. What? Kenshin asked. What do you mean, what? Naruto rhetorically asked. Don't you at least have a bag for sleeping and some food, Naruto asked, and Kenshin shrugged his shoulders. It's your job to escort me, so I assumed that I was taken care of, Kenshin said, and Naruto sighed. Hold here, I'll go home and get some supplies, Naruto said. You're going home now? What are we supposed to do in the meantime, Kenshin asked. Relax, I'll be back in a flash, Naruto said, and ironically disappeared in a yellow flash. 5 minutes later, he returned with another supply kit. Damn shinobi. The world will be better off without them, Kenshin thought to himself. We will be traveling in a loose diamond formation. Shikamaru on the back for support, me and Sasuke to the sides. Hinata, you take the lead, Naruto ordered, and everyone nodded. Hinata, 500 meters sweep every 2 minutes, Naruto said, and she nodded. Kotetsu, Naruto called out towards one of the gatekeepers. Sign us out, Naruto said, and handed him the mission form with the permit to leave the village. You are clear to go, Naruto. Good luck, Kotetsu said. Let's move out, Naruto said, and they started walking out of Konoha towards the Fire Temple. It would take a few days for them to arrive at the Fire Temple, traveling by civilian pace. 2 days into the mission, middle of Fire Country. Naruto's team and their client were traveling peacefully, and in just 2 days, they were already at about half the distance. Kenshin didn't know how to properly use chakra and never had the stamina of a shinobi, so they had to stop every couple of hours so he could rest. They had offered him to be carried, but he refused. Naruto even offered him to stay and rest inside Naruto's dimension while they traveled at shinobi speeds, but he refused as well. According to Kenshin, Naruto's dimension was scary, dark, cold, and lonely. It felt as if he was in a horror movie, too scared to even move. Say, Hinata started, gathering everyone's attention towards her. What's life like for the daimyo's grandson? Hinata asked, and everyone raised an eyebrow at the question. They had been traveling mostly in silence the entire mission. Sasuke was brooding, thinking about his brother Itachi. Shikamaru was watching the clouds. Hinata was busy sweeping the area, and Naruto and Kenshin didn't really seem to get along. Finally deciding to lead the peasant and come with me, Kenshin asked with a sultry voice, and Hinata got a tick mark. Why do you insist on calling me peasant? Naruto asked, shaking his head and ignoring his comment towards Hinata. Because you are, Kenshin simply replied. Everyone on your team is from a clan. The Uchiha clan, founders of Konoha, the Nara clan, and the ever-honored Hyuga clan, Kenshin stated. There were a few things that Kenshin got wrong with that train of thought. After all, neither Hinata belonged to Hyuga clan, nor was Naruto clanless. Have you ever thought of asking me my full name? Naruto rhetorically asked. What is your full name then? Kenshin asked in a superior and arrogant tone. Naruto. Senju Naruto, Naruto said. And Kenshin stopped walking and he stared at the blonde. That will put the prick in his place, Naruto thought, nodding to himself. Senju? Kenshin asked, sorry, and Naruto nodded. But I thought Tsunade-sama was the last. Why didn't you say anything when I called you peasant back then? Kenshin asked, shocked. The Senju were considered royalty in Konoha. There is a reason why Tsunade was called the Slug Princess. I don't care about titles, Naruto simply answered. I think respect must be earned and not given just because of the name you carry, Naruto explained, and Kenshin stared at him. Looks like even today, the Senju remain honorable and modest, Kenshin thought to himself with a smile. Maybe he'll do a better job than them, Kenshin sadly thought. I suppose I owe you an apology, Kenshin said, but Naruto waved him off. Just stop hitting on my girlfriend and we are good, Naruto said, and Kenshin nodded. So, Hinata started. You didn't answer my question about your life, Hinata said, and Kenshin sighed before starting. My life is pretty boring now. Since my father died 6 years ago when I was 10, it became even worse, Kenshin sadly said. My father was supposed to succeed my grandpa as the new fire daimyo, but he was killed. Ever since then, the title fell to me, and now I'm constantly taught in the ways of the daimyo. I have to learn extensive geography and history and negotiations, politics and economy. It sucks, Kenshin said, and Naruto chuckled. Naruto's days at the academy were pretty boring with Iruka as a teacher. That man was a very good practical teacher, but he couldn't, for the love of God, talk for more than 10 minutes without starting to sound boring. And the lessons tend to last hours, sometimes going on 3 hours in a row. My instructor at the academy was also boring, Naruto replied, and Shikamaru snorted. Shikamaru would always sleep during Iruka's highly detailed and constructive lessons. I have a question, Sasuke said, and everyone turned to stare at him. Who would have thought that the brooding Uchiha would actually participate in the conversation? Why weren't you trained in the ways of the shinobi due to your bloodline, Sasuke asked. I mean, it's not as powerful as a Sharingan. Good old Sasuke, Naruto thought, chuckling. But it still seems like a powerful bloodline to be able to negate any ninjutsu, Sasuke explained. I never knew I had a bloodline until the day my father died. My mother died when she gave birth to me, and she was also a civilian, so I never knew, Kenshin replied, looking down. When I was 10 years old, me and my father were traveling and being escorted by a Konoha team, much like this, Kenshin started. We were ambushed by a team of Nukenin, and my father ended up being killed during the battle. The Konoha team managed to hold on until the 12 Shinobi Guardians arrived, but it was too late. During the battle, one fire attack managed to slip by the Konoha Shinobi and was heading towards me, Kenshin said. Then, it happened. I instinctively closed my eyes and placed my arms in front of me to shield myself from the fireball. The moment the fireball was about to hit me, I felt sharp pain in my hands and opened my eyes. I saw that the fireball was being sucked into my arm like a vacuum, Kenshin explained. I didn't know what was happening or how to control it. The fireball was sucked in completely, and just moments later, from the same arm, came the fireball that I had just sucked in. It completely surprised the enemy, and I ended up killing one of them, giving Konoha enough time for backup to arrive, Kenshin said, remembering his first kill and how he threw up afterwards. After the whole ordeal was over, I was taught how to use chakra and control it by the 12 shinobi guardians. My bloodline was very dangerous if I didn't know how to use it. According to them, I could accidentally kill any civilian when I shook their hand, Kenshin said. Makes sense. Civilians don't have active chakra networks, but they need it nonetheless. You could absorb all their chakra almost instantly, and they would never know of it as they weren't trained, Naruto concluded. Don't worry, you have 4 Chunins guarding you, Naruto said. That didn't help much the last time. You ninja train every day, and yet when the time comes, you are all worthless, Kenshin flatly replied. You know what? Naruto rhetorically asked. I'm going to tell you something I told a friend I have back in the Land of Waves. Stop bitching about it and do something, Naruto simply said, and everyone raised an eyebrow at the bluntness at which he said that to Daimyo's grandson. After all, Naruto was never one to give any proper respect and honorifics to anyone. You are blaming Konoha Shinobi on the death of your father, and I can accept that. But not all shinobi are worthless, as you say. You don't want that to happen again? Then get trained in shinobi way. Master your bloodline and train, bleed and fight for those you care for, Naruto explained. And Kenshin turned away, now looking at Naruto thinking about what he said. I'm going to tell you something the Sandaime Hokage once said to me when I was a kid, Naruto said, and everyone focused on him. In this society, true power is not attained from mastering all the world's techniques. This is something I have already taught you. When there is something important to protect, that's when shinobi's true power emerges, Naruto quoted. Power, true power, comes from those who have the determination to protect. The true power of a shinobi emerges when he fights to protect those that are precious to him, Naruto explained. So, if you want to protect those that you love, don't rely solely on others. Find your own strength and fight for them. That is how I unlocked the fountain of my Sharingan, when Hinata-chan was being kidnapped. I unlocked the next level, the Mangekyo Sharingan, when Hinata-chan was about to die, and I need to save her, Naruto explained, and looked at Kenshin, who was deep in thought. Easier said than done, Kenshin muttered out loud. I never said it would be easy, but would you rather have someone you care for die just because you thought the train was tiresome and hard? Naruto rhetorically asked, but Kenshin didn't reply. I guess not, Kenshin replied before he gathered his thoughts and made a promise to himself. I will do it. I won't rely on others, and I will defend my family with everything I have, Kenshin said with a small smile. Naruto-kun, Hinata thought, looking at Naruto, smiling. Naruto always had a way with words. Troublesome. I guess he will make a fine Hokage one day, Shikamaru thought to himself. Sasuke replied, not really paying attention to what Naruto had said. So, Kenshin started. Can you train me, Kenshin asked, and Naruto chuckled. Hold your horses. We will only be escorting you to the Fire Temple. Once there, we will leave. Although, if you ask the 12 shinobi guardians, I'm sure they would be happy to help you, Naruto said, and Kenshin nodded. Enemy inbound, both sides, Hinata said, and Kenshin froze. Relax, Naruto said, placing a hand on his shoulder to calm his nerves. I take care of my team and clients. No one is dying today. Except them, Naruto said, and turned to Hinata. Can I get a head count, Naruto asked, and Hinata focused on her Byakugan. At this time, the whole team stopped and took defensive stances around Kenshin. I count 12 people, Hinata said, and focused more on each individual. Based on chakra levels, I estimate 9 around gain level, 2 Chunins, and 1 join, Hinata explained. The Gains don't seem to have any experience or carry themselves as someone with training, so they're most likely thugs who can use chakra, Hinata said, and Naruto nodded. They're probably taught by a join and Chunins, Naruto concluded, and activated his own Sharingan and started scanning the surroundings. I thought you were a Senju, Kenshin said, confused when he noticed Naruto's eyes. It was the fabled Sharingan. I am a Senju on my mother's side and Uchiha on my father's, Naruto said. I'm in the bingo book. Go look there, as my family tree, Naruto explained. Incoming attack, Hinata said, and kunais came flying from all sides, making it impossible to escape. Doton, Doryuheki, Earthfall, Naruto said, and slammed his hands onto the ground. All around the group, 4 Earthfalls rose from the ground to trap everyone inside. The kunais and shuriken hit the wall and got stuck. The Earthfall blocked around 100 kunai and shuriken. You know the plan, right? Naruto asked, and they all nodded. Naruto made a shadow clone of himself and used his kami to sink underground. Naruto's clone dropped the wall and everyone was standing there in front of them. All 12 of the attackers were standing there trying to intimidate the Konoha shinobi. Like Hinata said, the thugs didn't have anything in particular related to shinobi. They had normal clothes and no armor or hidden pockets. They didn't even have a hiatate unlike the others. The Chunins and Jonin had a scratch hiatate that belonged to the hidden grass village, meaning that they were Nukenin. How about you kids? Give us the bloodline, noble, and we will let you go on your way, the Jonin said. It appeared as if he was the leader of this small group. We do not abandon our clients, and we never surrender. It's the way of the leaf, Naruto said with his Sharingan eyes spinning. And Uchiha! You might be worth something in another village, the Jonin mused. Let's take him as well along with the Hyuga girl, the Jonin said with a twisted smile. Get them, the Jonin said, and all the thugs rushed to target. Futon, fan wind, the original Naruto said, hidden in the trees. He picked up his fan, channeled chakra through it, and then he swung and created a very strong gust of wind. The gust collided with the thugs, and all of them went flying and crashed into the ground and trees. It was clear that they weren't going to get up, as they had cracked bones all over, and some were even dead. You were sane? Naruto asked as the clone dispelled, and the original approached his group. It was nothing more than a distraction, so the enemy would think they were all there guarding the client. They didn't expect a surprise attack, and as such, Naruto was able to eliminate more than half of the group, even if they were the weaker ones. Meh, they're just cannon fodder, the Jonin said, and Naruto shook his head. There was no honor among thieves. They were willing to sacrifice them as pawns, and nothing more. The Jonin wanted to kill them quickly and took out a sword that looked like a normal katana. The Jonin dashed towards Naruto's group and raised his katana, and tried to do a downward slash to kill them. However, Naruto was faster than him, and then Naruto blurred from his position, heading straight towards the incoming Jonin. Naruto closed the distance and gave no time for Jonin to react. Naruto ducked under the swing and rose, placing himself in the middle of the Jonin's arms. Naruto quickly headbutted him, making the Jonin stumble backwards. Naruto kicked the Jonin's right hand and made the sword fly into the air. While the sword was still in the air, Naruto gave the Jonin a kick to his chest, making him fly away and collide with a tree. Naruto caught the falling sword and immediately threw it at the Jonin, piercing his clothes and staring him to the tree. The Jonin and the Chunins gulped when they saw that display of skill and speed. The Jonin was already swaying, as the blonde kid could have killed him right away if he wanted to. Who wants a piece of the action? Naruto asked, and Hinata and Sasuke raised their hands, making Naruto chuckle. Hinata, you take the Jonin, Sasuke the left Chunin, Naruto said. Why does Hinata get to take the Jonin? Sasuke yelled, frustrated with the fact that Naruto would think that Hinata was stronger than him, or that Sasuke wasn't strong enough to take the Jonin. Shut up and do what I say, Naruto ordered, and Sasuke scowled. Releasing a bit of ki to further his order, Sasuke eventually caved, and Naruto turned to Shikamaru. Troublesome. I'll take the other one, Shikamaru said, sighing, and stepped forward, leaving Naruto to protect Kenshin. They all immediately dashed towards the enemy, who braced themselves to fight the incoming Konoha shinobi. Aren't you going to help your girlfriend? Kenshin asked, surprised how calm Naruto was. He didn't seem any bit worried to see his girlfriend and the rest of the team fight for their lives. Don't worry, all of them are very strong. Do you know the ninja ranking system? Naruto asked, and Kenshin nodded. It was one of the many subjects he had to learn. After all, the Fire Daimyo was the supreme ruler of the Fire Country, and as such, indirect leader of the Leaf Village. The Fire Daimyo was more turned to economy, while the Hokage was the military leader. Even though we are all Chunin, I'm ranked as a Kagero Shinobi. Hinata-chan is an elite Jonin, Sasuke is around low Jonin, and Shikamaru is a solid Chunin. Naruto explained, and Kenshin's eyes widened. You didn't really think Tsunade Bachan would give you an escort with 4 ordinary and fresh Chunins, did you? Naruto rhetorically asked, but Kenshin said nothing. Tsunade Bachan? Kenshin muttered out loud, and Naruto nodded. Oh shit. I called him peasant in front of her. I'm so lucky to be alive, Kenshin thought to himself, shivering. Everyone in the world knew exactly why Tsunade was famous, and it was because of her short temper and monstrous strength. If anything goes south, I'll intervene, Naruto said, and turned to watch the battles. Hinata versus Jonin. Oh, goody. The blonde kid sent the lamb to the slaughter, Jonin said, licking his lips in anticipation. Are you in the bingo book? Hinata asked in a monotone voice. No. Why do you ask? Jonin asked, confused. Shame. That means there's no reward in killing you, Hinata said, and Jonin scoffed. Pfft, we will see about that, Jonin said, and he took out a couple of kunai. Soitan, Tebodama, water boy, Hinata said, and sent a couple of water balls towards the Jonin. He jumped to the side to avoid them and threw a kunai to Hinata wrapped with an explosive tag. Hinata dodged the kunai and the tag exploded, creating a cloud of dust. Using the cloud as coverage, Hinata created a shadow clone and activated her Byakugan. Using her eyes, she easily bypassed the dust cloud and located Jonin, who was observing the cloud intently for any signs of Hinata. Hinata took out a couple of poisonous senbon and easily threw them towards the Jonin, using dust as a cover-up. The Jonin was very close to the dust cloud, and even though he was a Jonin, he didn't have quick enough reflexes to completely dodge the senbon, as they were small and difficult to see. The senbon scratched the Jonin and introduced the poison into him. Due to his quick reflexes, he managed to avoid any critical strikes from the senbon, but he still got infected by the poison, although he didn't know that yet. "Bitch!" the Jonin said before flashing through hand seals. Doton, Domu, Earth Spear. A chunk of earth rose from the ground and formed a spear that the Jonin grabbed and threw blindly into a dust cloud. He heard a piercing sound and smirked, thinking he got her. The dust cloud finally lifted and the Jonin smiled and decided for not being pinned to the ground with an earth spear for her left shoulder. The Jonin approached her and kicked her. "Ha ha ha ha! Serves you right, bitch," the Jonin said, laughing until Hinata disappeared in a cloud of smoke to reveal a small log. Kawarimi, substitution. Shit, the Jonin thought as the log started sizzling. He took a closer look and saw that the log had an explosive tag attached to it. The tag detonated and the Jonin was thrown backwards but managed to flip mid-air and land on the ground, barely hurt. He scanned his surroundings trying to find her. The Jonin knew he was at a disadvantage as he was fighting a Hyuga. His enemy had to be Akutami, and it was a safe bet that she knew exactly where he was, unlike him, who had to rely on his senses to find her. "Futon, Renkudan, wind bullet," Hinata whispered before taking a deep breath and firing multiple wind bullets towards the unsuspecting Jonin. The Jonin felt the chakra usage and immediately performed a Kawarimi to avoid the death zone. Hinata saw him mold the chakra for Byakugan and adjusted her trajectory with the last bullets. The Jonin performed a Kawarimi and avoided the bullets safely, or so he thought. He started doing hand seals for Naruto when he felt pain through his legs. He buckled over in pain and noticed that he was bleeding from both legs, which had holes in them. He tried to get up until he felt a sharp pain in the middle of his chest and then nothing more than darkness. Hinata quickly approached the Jonin and delivered a Juken strike to his heart, killing him instantly. There was no point in letting him suffer in pain, so Hinata took him out of his misery. Shikamaru versus Chunin. Damn that Naruto. Giving me all the work while I could be resting but a client, watching the clouds, Shikamaru muttered, sighing, and stopping right in front of the Chunin. Shikamaru was already making plans, and more plans, to defeat his enemy and end this battle quickly. After all, the clouds don't watch themselves. "If you want, I can leave," the Chunin said in a sarcastic tone. "That would be great. See ya," Shikamaru said, and turned to walk away from the enemy who had a WTF face. "I'm joking, you bastard! You aren't going anywhere," the Chunin yelled and charged towards Shikamaru. "Troublesome," Shikamaru muttered, and braced himself to fight that troublesome shinobi. Shikamaru crouched and placed his hands in a rat hand seal. The shadow beneath Shikamaru started shimmering, and suddenly a thin line raced towards the incoming Chunin. "Anara," the Chunin thought as he stopped running towards Shikamaru and started evasive maneuvers. If he got caught in the shadow, it would be the end of him. Even though the shadow bloodline from the Nara clan is very powerful, their techniques have several weaknesses. For instance, the most basic technique which Shikamaru is performing, the user must be rooted in place, keeping the constant hand seal, making him vulnerable to an attack. Another weakness is that if the enemy's chakra is powerful enough, they can break the shadow bind, placing the Nara user in a tough spot. Seeing this, the Chunin jumped high in the air and took out a couple of shuriken and sent them towards Shikamaru. Shikamaru was forced to stop this technique and jumped to the side to avoid the shurikens. Shikamaru took out a couple of smoke bombs and threw them into the middle of the road, clouding the Chunin's view of his enemy. The Chunin knew he couldn't stay in the smoke cloud, and as such, he jumped into a nearby forest and lashed himself onto a tree, channeling chakra onto his feet. "Let's see," the Chunin thought, considering what to do against a shadow user. "Katon, Gokyaku no Jutsu, great fireball technique," the Chunin said, and sent a big fireball towards Shikamaru, who was still on the road, watching a cloud of smoke disperse. Shikamaru noticed the fireball and pinpointed the enemy's location from the jutsu. Using the fireball's shadow and the natural shadows created by the trees in the forest, Shikamaru did a quick Kawarimi with a nearby log and immediately crouched. His shadow blurred from his position and quickly passed underneath the fireball and up the tree, snaring the Chunin into position. "How?" the Chunin asked. He never noticed the shadow creep up on him. He looked towards to where the fireball crashed and noticed a burned log, meaning Shikamaru had switched with it. "Very simple. I used the fireball's shadow along with the shadows from the trees. The smoke bomb's original purpose was to lure you into the forest," Shikamaru explained, and performed another set of hand seals. "Shadow neck binding," Shikamaru said, and the shadow under Chunin's feet started crawling up his legs and taking the form of hands. These shadow hands easily reached the Chunin's neck and proceeded to strangle him to death. The Chunin fell to the ground and Shikamaru left to group up with Naruto so he could finally watch some clouds. Sasuke versus Chunin. You should give up. Only Uchiha can defeat Uchiha, Sasuke taunted, or most likely bragged, but in the end it didn't matter. Like most shinobi, when you taunt them, they fall for it and charge head on. Shut up, you bastard, the Chunin said and blurred towards Sasuke, who smirked and easily saw him approaching with his Sharingan. Usually the one that advances first is the first to make a mistake. They both arrived near each other and started exchanging blows with Sasuke coming out on top. The Chunin threw a sloppy punch and Sasuke capitalized on it. Sasuke swatted his fist aside and grabbed his wrist. Sasuke flicked him and slammed him into the ground. The Chunin got up and Sasuke took his chance and gave him a roundhouse kick and the Chunin was sent flying into a nearby tree. Pathetic, Sasuke said smirking. As expected, no one can match the power of an Uchiha, Sasuke bragged. Katon, Hosenko no Jutsu, Phoenix Fire Technique, Sasuke said, and sent multiple small fireballs towards the Chunin. He had just got up and coughed a bit of blood when he saw the incoming fire attack. The Chunin decided to perform a fast Kararimi with a nearby log since it would be difficult to dodge all of the fireballs. The Chunin came to his senses when he noticed Sasuke appear next to him. Sasuke sent him a kick and the Chunin managed to block it with his right leg. Sasuke twisted his body and gave him a right hook. The Chunin blocked it once again with his hands, but Sasuke continued his twist and used his other leg, and he slammed it into the Chunin's face, sending him flying once again. Sasuke quickly reappeared next to the Chunin before he could even land, and gave him a kick to send him flying into the air. Sasuke blurred from his position and appeared right behind the Chunin in midair. Sasuke grabbed the Chunin, trapped the Chunin's legs with his hands, and wrapped his legs around the Chunin's chest and plummeted towards earth. Sasuke slammed the Chunin's head hard into the ground, hard enough to bury him and snap his neck. Sasuke got up and smirked at his handiwork. All that training was paying off. Back with Naruto and Kenshin. You see, Naruto said, pointing towards the incoming members of his team. Nothing to worry about, Naruto stated. That's good, but I can't stop shaking, Kenshin said, trembling. It's the adrenaline, Hinata started. You aren't used to seeing this type of combat, and you were obviously nervous. It'll wear off. Give it a couple of minutes, Hinata explained, and he nodded. We will set up camp here tonight, Naruto said as the day was already beginning to darken, and they had just battled a couple of Nukenin. Sasuke, go collect wood for a fire. Shikamaru, water, Naruto said, and they both left. Hinata-chan, stay close to Kenshin. I'll bury the bodies, Naruto said, and left to go collect the bodies of the enemy and bury them. A couple of minutes later, everyone returned with their respective fanes, and Naruto started a small fire with a Katon Jutsu. They ate quietly and peacefully, and Naruto formed a small earth dome so that they could sleep with some coverage. 4 3-hour shifts each. Who wants the first? Naruto asked, and Shikamaru stepped forward. Troublesome. I'll take the first one, Shikamaru said, yawning. No cloud watching, Naruto said, grinning, and Shikamaru waved him off. Little does he know, it's a clear sky, so I'll be watching the stars, Shikamaru thought evilly. 3 days later, Fire Temple. The rest of the travel went without any sort of troubles as they weren't ambushed again. During the travel, Naruto eventually caved and decided to show Kenshin the leaf sticking exercise for chakra control, as it could be done while traveling. Kenshin had a really hard time doing it because he was already old, and as such, his chakra network was a bit atrophied. They were reaching the fire temple and stopped at the supposed entrance to it. There were stairs as far as the eye could see, and there weren't even intervals between them. It was step after step in what seemed to be a long walk. 234 steps, Kenshin said, and Naruto's eye twitched. Keep those comments to yourself, Naruto said, and they all started walking up the stairs that didn't seem to end. After 234 steps, they finally reached the real entrance to the fire temple. The temple itself seemed to be surrounded by high and sturdy stone walls, with the entrance being a big golden gate with 2 statues near them, as if guarding the gates. They approached the gates and stopped in front of them. Naruto tried to push the gate to open, but it wouldn't budge. It won't open. Am I supposed to blow it to pieces? Naruto asked, turned to Kenshin, who paled at the thought of Naruto blowing up the gates. Hold on, Naruto said, and his eyes flashed his Mangekyo, and touching every member of his team and using his Kamui, he simply walked through the gates. Kenshin got chills down his spine when traveling through the gate. Just what type of shinobi was this Naruto? He just passed through a gate like a ghost. Once inside, the temple itself looked very modest. It wasn't an overly large construction or fancy for that matter. It seemed to be a monastery built primarily of wood with some empty grounds around. If Naruto had to guess, these empty grounds were mostly trained ones. "Hold!" someone yelled, and forced Naruto's team into defensive stances around Kenshin. "Identify yourselves," the person ordered. They relaxed their stances, but kept on edge. After all, appearances can be deceiving. "Konoha team is escorting Kenshin-sama," Naruto said, and that someone stepped from the shadows to reveal a monk. The person was a bald man with dark eyes and very thick eyebrows. He wore the sarin attire of the ninja monk along with the sash worn by members of the 12 Guardian Ninja group, and went barefoot. "I'm Chiriku, the head monk of the Fire Temple," Chiriku said, greeting the Konoha team, and motioned to another person to step out from the shadows. But Naruto's team had already known of his existence. The other person looked like he was around 14. He had shoulder-length, dull, bluish-gray hair in an asymmetrical style, with a single lock falling into his face, and brown eyes. He wore sandals and a Sarin monk uniform with a long right sleeve. "This is Sora, my apprentice," Chiriku explained, and Sora bowed to the Konoha team. "Pleasure to meet you," Naruto said, greeting them. "I'm Senju Naruto, leader of the team. This is Nara Shikamaru," Naruto said, pointing to yawning Nara. "This is Hyuga Hinata," Naruto said, pointing towards Hinata, who slightly bowed. "And this is Uchiha Sasuke," Naruto said, and Sasuke did his traditional cocky smirk. "Nice to meet you all," Chiriku started. "We weren't expecting you for at least a couple more days," Chiriku stated, impressed with the speed at which they got to the Fire Temple. "We made good time, and we didn't have too much trouble," Naruto explained, and Chiriku motioned them to follow him inside. "As we weren't expecting you on such short notice, the Fire Daimyo has yet to arrive, and, as such, there aren't any 12 Shinobi Guardians here," Chiriku explained. "It shouldn't be a problem. Our mission is to escort and protect Kenshin-sama until we can rendezvous with the 12 Shinobi Guardians. As such, we shall wait here with him until they arrive. I will send a message to Tsunade Bachan to report our progress and explain our situation," Naruto explained, and Chiriku nodded. They approached the monastery and saw that some monks were practicing taijutsu in one of the training grounds. They weren't sparring like shinobi do. When shinobi spar, they aren't afraid to hit their comrades, while the monks would stop if the attack would hit the opponent. Seeing the curious faces of the Konoha team, Chiriku decided to explain. "We aren't the traditional monks," Chiriku started, and everyone focused on him. "We are ninja monks. We usually don't take the traditional path the shinobi seem to take. Like, for instance, we don't train much in anything other than taijutsu and elemental ninjutsu," Chiriku explained. "All of the ninja monks are around what you might call chewing level. More skilled monks are usually assigned to the 12 Shinobi Guardians, along with a select few from Konoha," Chiriku stated, and Shikamaru remembered something when he saw Chiriku's scarf. "You were a member of the 12 Shinobi Guardians," Shikamaru stated, and Chiriku raised an eyebrow. "I was. Why do you ask?" Chiriku asked, curious as to why he would ask such a question. "Because Asuma-sensei has the same scarf as you do, and was also one of the 12, Shikamaru said. "Saratobi Asuma?" Chiriku asked, surprised to hear the name of his long-away friend. "Hi," Shikamaru said. "Oh, Asuma-kun. We were partners in the 12 back in the day. How's that bastard doing?" Chiriku asked. Shikamaru blanked at the way he phrased the question. Was a monk allowed to curse? "He's fine and a good sensei. He always took us out to eat after a successful mission," Shikamaru said, and Chiriku nodded. It was good to find that his friend was good, and he got a getting team to teach. And if this young man's flak jacket was proof, Asuma's doing a good job teaching them. "This way," Chiriku said, and guided them to the rooms where they will be staying for the next couple of days until the Fire Daimyo arrives. After a couple of minutes of walking, they reached the rooms and each member took one. Naruto assigned the same shifts to watch over Kenshin. They were deep inside the Fire Temple, and they shouldn't have much trouble, but Naruto didn't want to take any chances. He himself is a master of infiltration, but that is partially due to his Kamui ability. But nonetheless, there are a lot of skilled shinobi out there, and Naruto wanted to make sure Kenshin was safe at all times. Next day at the Fire Temple, outside. Deep within the forest, just outside the Fire Temple, were two cloaked figures. A small light bypassed the branches and showed them. They were Tobi and Kakazu, and they were talking to one another. "You know what to do," Tobi asked, and Kakazu nodded. "Good. Don't underestimate the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Iwa classified him as an S-rank shinobi, and we know for a fact that he can control at least 4 tails," Tobi said. After all, if Kakazu got himself killed before he even finished his mission, that wouldn't please Toby at all. Just make sure you do your part, Kakazu said, and dashed out of the forest, going towards the Fire Temple's gate. Kakazu approached the golden gates and formed a ram seal. His hands started to darken as he seemed to turn to something stronger than stone itself. Dotun, Domu, Earth Spirit, Hokage said, forming a fist with his right hand and slamming it against the golden gates. The gates were obliterated and blasted backwards, crashing into the middle of the train grounds. Subtle, Toby thought as he warped away to get into position. Inside the Fire Temple, Naruto and company. Naruto, Sasuke, Hinata, and Shikamaru were guarding Kenshin, while Chiriku and Sora were taking them on a tour around the Fire Temple. Regarding Sora, Naruto felt that something was off about the kid. Naruto noticed the glares the other monks seemed to give Sora, and these type of glares remind him of his life back in the old days. Chiriku-san, Naruto said, gathering his attention. Do you mind if I ask a personal question, Naruto asked, and Chiriku raised an eyebrow. I'll do my best to answer it truthfully, Chiriku replied, and Naruto not thinking of how to phrase his question the right way. Truthfully, you say, Naruto thought before activating his Sharingan and hiding with a small Genjutsu. Hinata sensed the Genjutsu and activated Byakugan as well. All of this, and Chiriku never realized it. After all, would you expect a Sharingan user belonging to the Senju clan? I noticed some strange looks that the other monks seemed to give Sora-san, Naruto said, and Chiriku remained impassive. But Hinata saw a small rise in his heartbeat, and Naruto noticed a small increase in his blood pressure due to a small bulge in his neck. Sora just frowned as he too wondered why he received those glares. Sore subject, both Naruto and Hinata thought. Chiriku looked over to Sora, who was silent, and watched him intently to see if Chiriku was going to tell him. I know those types of glares, and if he is what I think he is, then you should have let the Hokage know about this, Naruto explained, looking directly at Chiriku and letting his Genjutsu drop to reveal his Sharingan. I don't think you're equipped or trained if something should happen, Naruto said, and Chiriku flinched. Something did happen, Naruto stated. What are you talking about, Sora asked. You said you didn't know why you treated me like this, Sora sadly said, looking intently at him. Tell me! Sora yelled, but this time looking towards Naruto. You are what people call a Jinchuriki, a human sacrifice, Naruto stated. Jinchuriki are human beings that have a Biju sealed inside of them, Naruto said, and Sora's eyes widened the implications. Which one does he have? Naruto asked Chiriku. Kyuubi, Chiriku sadly replied, sighing. What? And for Kurama, what? Naruto and Kurama and Shikamaru yelled. Kurama, what was he talking about? Naruto asked his partner, who was dumbfounded at the monk's statement.
I don't have a clue. I don't sense anything coming off of him,
Kurama replied. That is impossible, Chiriku-san, Naruto said to Chiriku. What makes you say that? Chiriku asked, confused. Because I'm the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, Naruto said. Sasuke's eyes widened along with Sora's and Chiriku's. But when it happened, I felt the chakra, and it was definitely the Kyuubi, Chiriku explained, and Naruto stayed silent. That Dolby seems to have everything. The Kyuubi should belong to me. With it, I could easily defeat Itachi. After all, the Sharingan is capable of controlling the Kyuubi, Sasuke thought to himself. Did I do something? Sora asked carefully, as nothing was making much sense as of now. Chiriku sighed and decided it was time to explain everything, but he never wanted him to find out this way. A couple of years ago, when you were younger, you somehow unleashed that chakra that was sealed inside of you, and proceeded to go on a rampage around our temple, destroying a good part of it, and injuring many monks. Thank Kami no one died, but the damage was severe, and they started looking at you with hate and fear, Chiriku said. It was that day I realized that you had the Kyuubi's chakra sealed inside of you. I don't know who or how it happened, but it doesn't matter at this point. After that whole incident, everyone became aware of you and started giving you those looks, Chiriku said, placing a hand on Sora's shoulder. So, I'm nothing more than a monster, Sora said, looking down. No, you aren't a monster, Naruto said. How do you know? Sora yelled at him, almost sobbing. Because I'm not one either, Naruto replied, and Sora's eyes widened. Since you're the Kyuubi's chakra, and since the Kyuubi's soul is inside of me, when you use the Kyuubi's chakra, if you can't control it, it runs rampant. If you don't manage to control the chakra, it runs wildly, and you won't be able to distinguish friend from foe. and you'll destroy everything in your path, Naruto explained. What am I supposed to do then, Sora asked. You're in luck, Naruto said, and Sora got confused. Me and Kyuubi are going to help you control it so this doesn't happen again, Naruto said, and Sora was shocked. The Kyuubi is going to help me, Sora asked fearfully. Yes. The Kyuubi is both a dear friend and a trusted partner. He will help us, don't worry, Naruto said. Trust Naruto to call Bichu his friend. Troublesome, Shikamaru thought. When you're ready, we can begin, Naruto said, and Sora nodded. Thank you, Naruto-san, Shiriku said. Maybe Sora would be able to make a couple of friends his age, and Naruto would be the best as he was also Jinchuriki. Boom! What was that? Naruto asked as everyone recoiled from an explosion they heard coming from outside the fire temple. After a couple of seconds, a monk came right inside. Shiriku-san, we are under attack from a shinobi, the monk said between breaths, placing his hands on his knees. He destroyed the gate, and is destroying and killing everyone in sight. Sasuke, the moment that he heard this, blurred away from Naruto's position, heading towards the gates. Sasuke intended to kill this threat quickly so he could go back to training. Sasuke! Naruto yelled as Sasuke was running away from him. That idiot's going to get himself killed, Naruto said out loud and turned to Shiriku, who was discussing plans with the monk that came to warn them. Shiriku-san, Naruto said, gaining his attention. Kenshin-sama takes priority. Once we have him transferred into a secure location, I can provide assistance, Naruto said, and Shiriku nodded. Let's hope your teammate can last, Shiriku said, and motioned them to follow him so they could take Kenshin to a secure room inside the fire temple. After a couple of minutes of running, they finally came across what seemed to be a panic room. The room had large metal doors. Fun, Tepeki, Kai, sealed iron door, release, Shiriku said, going through hand seals. The massive iron doors glowed momentarily before unlocking and allowing Kenshin, Sora, Hinata, and Shikamaru entrance to the room. The room itself was very large, and it was completely surrounded by iron or some other metal. The room itself was mostly empty except with a table and a couple of chairs. Hinata-chan, Shikamaru, you stay and protect Kenshin. I'm going outside to help, Naruto said, and everyone nodded. Naruto was about to leave when Hinata grabbed him and gave him a small kiss. Be careful, Hinata softly said. I always am, Naruto replied, and dashed away with Shiriku beside him. With Sasuke. Sasuke was running for the monastery inside the fire temple. After a couple minutes of running, he finally found the monastery's exit and ran outside to find the shinobi and terminate his existence. Sasuke came outside, and there was destruction everywhere. Monks laid everywhere on the ground and most likely dead by their appearance. Sasuke activated his Sharingan and scanned his surroundings. Sasuke felt a presence behind him and jumped away just moments before the shinobi came punching the ground. The ground exploded from the power of the punch and sent debris everywhere. After a couple seconds, the dust cloud settled and Sasuke saw a shinobi standing there looking at Sasuke impassively. The shinobi standing in front of Sasuke was very tall and seemed muscular. He was wearing a high-colored black cloak with red clouds on it. On his head, he wore a white hood and a black mask, with his eyes being the only visible part of his face. His eyes were the strangest thing. The pupil was a very deep forest green, while the rest of the eye was blood red. He's making my job easier coming after me, Akatsuki thought, looking at Sasuke. He still didn't understand why that Toei person wanted Sasuke for, but it didn't matter to him. As long as he got paid, he wouldn't ask any questions. Who are you, and what do you want? Sasuke asked, glaring at the man in front of him. I'm Kakuzu, and as to why I'm here, I don't think that concerns you, Kakuzu stoically said. I guess I'll have to beat out of you, Sasuke said, smirking and dashed towards Kakuzu. Naive, Kakuzu thought, and braced himself to put the brat in his place. Sasuke closed the distance between Kakuzu and himself in no time and jumped in the air trying a spin kick. Kakuzu brought his left arm up, blocked it, and then Kakuzu grabbed Sasuke by his legs and smashed him into the floor, making him cough. Kakuzu used his Doton technique and tried to punch Sasuke, who was on the ground, but Sasuke managed to Kawarimi out. Katon, Gagyaku no Jutsu, great fireball technique, Sasuke said, and sent a fireball towards Kakuzu, who flashed for a couple of hand seals that Sasuke wasn't able to see. Suiton, Suijin Heki, water wall, Kakuzu said, and started expelling water from his mouth, forming a spear around his body. The fireball crashed into the water wall and disappeared in steam, leaving Kakuzu unharmed. Tisk! Sasuke scoffed at the sight of a mere shinobi defending himself so easily against him. Sasuke was so focused on Kakuzu that he didn't notice something grab his foot by the ankle. A hand emerged from the ground and caught Sasuke's ankle with a very firm grip, not allowing any Kawarimi of any sort. The strange part was that the hand was only the hand. There was no arm, just a bunch of black threads attached to the hand. The hand rose from the ground and into the air, dragging Sasuke along and sending him crashing into a building nearby. Sasuke coughed and got up, cleaning a bit of blood from the side of his lip and stretching his arms. Sasuke dashed again towards Kakasu with a frontal assault. Once next to Kakasu, Sasuke sent a punch to Kakasu's face, who didn't even try to block it. Instead, Kakasu used his earth technique to strengthen his fist and smashed into Sasuke, who poofed in smoke. A clone, Kakasu wondered when he looked to his right and saw multiple small fireballs coming hot towards him. Kakasu easily dodged all the fireballs with small and consecutive jumps. This time, it was Kakasu who ran towards Sasuke and engaged him in a heated taijutsu battle. Sasuke quickly realized that Kakasu was much faster and much stronger than him by a large margin. Sasuke's Sharingan could barely keep track of Kakasu and his speed. Kakasu tried to punch Sasuke, who tilted back to avoid the hit. Kakasu tried another punch and Sasuke ducked, going for a leg sweep. Kakasu jumped up and tried a downward kick that Sasuke blocked by bringing his arm up in a cross formation. Even though Sasuke blocked the kick, he was being pushed down by the sheer strength of his adversary. Sasuke removed his arms and rolled to the side to avoid the kick as it smashed into the ground. Sasuke tried to jump away, but Kakasu's hand split from his body and caught him by the ankle again, and proceeded to smash Sasuke against the ground in nearby buildings multiple times, until it finally released him by throwing him onto the ground. Weak. Pathetic, Kakasu said, as he watched Sasuke trying to push himself to stand but having difficulties. His body hurt all over, and Sasuke was pretty sure that his ankle might be dislodged from place. Why Itachi didn't kill you is beyond me, Kakasu said, and Sasuke saw red. Itachi! What do you know of Itachi? Sasuke yelled towards Kakasu, who remained undisturbed against a pathetic killing intent. Tell me! Sasuke ordered. You were in no position to order me around, boy! Kakasu said, and Sasuke gritted his teeth. Itachi belongs to our group. Anyone who wears this cloak, Kakasu said, pointing towards his black cloak with red clouds, belongs to the Akatsuki group, Kakasu explained. Where is he? Sasuke yelled again, asking Kakasu where his brother was. His hate was dulling Sasuke's pain, as he was saying even though his ankle was in very bad shape. Oh, that would be telling, Kakasu said, chuckling, and making Sasuke scowl at him, flashing through hand seals. A Chidori popped to life in Sasuke's hands, who proceeded to blur towards Kakasu, who remained in place. Chidori! Sasuke said, and tried to pierce Kakasu, who simply grabbed Sasuke's wrist and disrupted his Chidori with ease. With a simple twist of motion, Kakasu broke Sasuke's wrist, making him scream in pain. I guess Itachi left you alive as an act of mercy. You are worthless, Kakasu said, and delivered a strong kick to Sasuke's chest. And he was sent flying to the ground. Where did all that train go? Sasuke wondered and fought as he got demolished by a shinobi. Damn it! I'm too weak. At this rate, I'll never avenge my clan, Sasuke fought, as he crashed into the ground, forming a small crater. Sasuke at this point couldn't even feel half of his body and was barely conscious. Primary objective? Completed, Kakasu thought to himself. Raikiri. A voice was heard, and the only thing Kakasu felt was a very sharp pain from his chest. He looked down and saw a hand coating in light sticking out of his chest. How did you get behind me? Kakasu said, just before Naruto pulled his arm out, and Kakasu fell to the ground, dead. Naruto's Raikiri pierced cleanly through his heart, and no one could survive such an attack. I guess won't be needed, Chiriku said as he watched Naruto kill the enemy with a single jutsu. Both of them then proceeded to run towards Sasuke and got him out of the ground. They were lifting Sasuke when Naruto felt a chakra spike behind them. Naruto turned just in time to see Kakasu finish his hand seals and say, Futon! Atsugai! Pressurized wind bomb, and sent a big chakra compressed vacuum ball towards Naruto and Chiriku. Naruto dropped Sasuke onto Chiriku's back, and picking up his fan from his back, he swatted the wind bomb away into nothingness. The ball collided with the fan, but the only result was a loud sound as Naruto's fan neutralized the attack. Will he be alright alone, Chiriku asked? The enemy had just decimated Uchiha Sasuke, who was a Chunin and Naruto's teammate. I can take care of myself. Take Sasuke away to get healed, Naruto said, and Chiriku jumped away. How are you still alive? Naruto asked, surprised to see his enemy still standing. I know for certain that I got your heart, Naruto said, looking at his enemy and noticed his cloak. So, you're after me again, Naruto asked, looking carefully at him, Sharingan blazing. Taking into account that I sent Itachi and Kisame with their tails between their legs, I suppose they sensed someone stronger, Naruto asked, but Akatsuki remained impassive. And why do I feel 4 different chakra signatures coming off of you? Naruto wondered as he focused more on his enemy and trying to find anything else. He's already close to figuring it out. He's not to be underestimated, Akatsuki thought. I'm not here for you, QB, but I suppose I can take you as well, Akatsuki said, and Naruto laughed. You can't take me that easily. I believe I'll put up a fight at least, Naruto said. Ready? Akatsuki asked. Yes, Naruto said, and both of them dashed towards each other at high speeds. They met it halfway, and their fists collided with a shockwave. They were evenly matched in taijutsu, with Naruto being faster and Akatsuki being stronger. Far stronger than anyone should be. Naruto noticed that his skin was dark, almost black. Using Sharingan insight to analyze as best he could why his skin would be so dark. He's using Earth Chakra to strengthen his skin and increase his strength, Naruto concluded from the analysis. Naruto jumped back into the air to gain some distance, and he was surprised when Akatsuki's hands detached themselves from him. The hands were going fast towards his ankles, and Naruto had to do something. Naruto focused his chakra, and golden chains erupted from his hands. Naruto sent the chains into the ground and used them to outmaneuver Akatsuki's hands mid-air and lay on the ground. Naruto channeled chakra into his wrist storage seal and took out his Shakuto and began channeling Raiten chakra through it. Naruto dashed forward and sliced the black threads connecting the hands to Akatsuki. The hands fell limply to the ground. Naruto was a bit sick to see another set of black threads pop out of the ground and reattach themselves to the hands, pulling them back to their owner. What are you? Naruto asked, confused with his enemy. First it pierced his heart, and he gets up like nothing. And now he detached his body parts, Naruto thought, shaking his head. Why couldn't he have normal adversaries? First was Orochimaru vomiting himself, and now this one. Right done. Right you done. Lion Dragon, Naruto said, blurring through hand seals and slammed his hands together. Lightning could be heard sparkling around his hands, and suddenly a large blue dragon with yellow eyes erupted from his hands. The dragon roared his way towards Akatsuki, who had his eyes widened. Futon, Daitopa, quick breakthrough, Akatsuki said, and sent a gust of wind towards the incoming dragon, intending to disrupt the jutsu. However, his wind jutsu was far too weak when compared to Naruto's, and did little to nothing to even slow it down. Akatsuki had no choice but to run away. The moment the dragon was about to crash into him, Akatsuki sidestepped it and jumped as far away as he could. Even though Akatsuki dodged the attack, his left arm was spasming a bit from the electricity. Surprise! Naruto said as he reappeared next to Akatsuki's position with his hand crackling with electricity. Raikiri! Naruto said and slammed his hand into Akatsuki. Akatsuki was able to slightly dodge the attack, but ended up being stabbed through the right shoulder. Naruto jumped back to gain some distance, and once again Akatsuki fell to the ground lifeless. Naruto was no fool. This time he was ready, and he could still feel 3 chakra signatures coming from Akatsuki. Akatsuki started jerking around on the ground, and suddenly he exploded in black threads. His Akatsuki cloak was ripped to shreds. The whole mess of black threads started to form 2 separate globs away from Akatsuki's body. In each of these globs of black threads was a white mask with 3 different colors and designs. The masks were light blue and looked like a bird, and the other one was red and looked like a dragon. Akatsuki's body rose from the ground, and he still looked the same. Even though he just had those masks taken from his body, he didn't change much. What is happening? Naruto asked himself. I already killed him twice, and he still stands, Naruto thought, until he looked around and noticed the other 2 masks on the ground. As expected from the Konoha no Raijin, Konoha's thunder god, Akatsuki thought to himself. That lion dragon was exceptionally powerful, and not even his wind technique managed to dispel it. The other masks were cracked and destroyed, but he could still see that they were brown and the other one was dark blue. Do the masks have anything to do with his lives? Maybe I need to kill him 3 more times to make it permanent, Naruto thought, deciding his approach. He looked towards Akatsuki and noticed that the masks were missing until he heard a swirling noise to his right. Futon, Atsugai, pressurized wind bomb. Gaton, Sukoku, cranium carver, Akatsuki said, as both masks were staying side by side, preparing to launch the jutsus. In the light blue mask, the wind started swirling. the same as the fire in the red mask. Both masks launched their jutsu simultaneously, combining the two elements to power up the jutsu. A shining ball of fire, like the sun, was flying towards Naruto at high speeds. "Kamui," Naruto said, and activated his Mangekyo. The ball was about to collide with Naruto when the space in front of him started swirling. True enough, the incoming fireball started to be absorbed into Naruto's right eye. It only took fractions of seconds until a shining fireball of destruction disappeared right in front of his eyes. Literally. "Kamui," Naruto said, and using his left eye, he focused on the location of Akatsuki's original body. The space around Akatsuki started distorting, and from it came the shining ball of fire that the mask had previously unleashed upon Naruto. Akatsuki had no time to dodge as the fireball suddenly appeared right next to him. The ball collided with Akatsuki and his whole body erupted in a tornado of flames. Naruto had to block his view from the tornado due to the intense light and heat being generated. The tornado died down, and Naruto, still aware of the other mask, looked to Akatsuki's body, who seemed to be nothing more than ashes on the ground. Naruto couldn't find the mask and assumed it was vaporized with his attack. Suddenly, the red mask flew towards the pile of ash and dived inside of it. Slowly but surely, Akatsuki seemed to be rising from the ashes untouched. Seconds later, Akatsuki was saying like nothing had ever happened. "The brat is really dangerous," Akatsuki thought, as Naruto had already destroyed 3 of his 5 hearts. "Even if my power is limited, I have a feeling that he's not serious either," Akatsuki thought, looking at Naruto, who was staring at him impassively. The brat did really look like Uchiha Madara. Akatsuki, being very old, had obviously met up with Uchiha Madara back in the old days. Although Akatsuki never fought him, he knew very well that Madara was an enemy not to be underestimated, and was said that only Senju Hashirama could match his power. And both of them were on a level that was so far out of reach of ordinary shinobi that they were considered gods among humans. And now, Akatsuki had the man's grandson standing in front of him, looking, staring at him impassively, and without a flinch. There was no doubt about Naruto's heritage. His battle fan, his hairstyle, and the power behind those eyes was far too great to be discarded as nothing more than bull. "You give a whole new meaning to rise from the ashes," Naruto said, and jumped to the side to avoid a wind blade sent from the light blue mask. "2 masks to go," Naruto said, smirking, and Akatsuki's eyes widened. "So you figured it out?" Akatsuki asked, and Naruto nodded. "Yes. You seem to be linked deeply to each of the masks you carry. Judging from the number of critical hits I landed, you should have been dead 3 times already, and yet you aren't. However, each time I killed you, I destroyed one of your masks. Logic states that once they're all gone, you die," Naruto explained, and Akatsuki nodded. "Impressive observation. It's very true. I steal the hearts of powerful shinobi I defeat in combat. By doing so, I can extend my natural lifespan. I'm more than 100 years old, and I once fought the Shodaime Hokage," Akatsuki explained, and Naruto was shocked. Akatsuki was over 100 years old, which means he fought in the clan wars before the village system was set up. Naruto guessed that Akatsuki had eventually joined Taki during his life only to later defect. If Akatsuki had indeed fought against his great-grandfather, it means that fighting Akatsuki was a family business, so to speak. And now, Naruto is going to finish his Gramps' work. "This is it," Naruto said before slapping his hands together as if praying. Akatsuki sent a light blue mask to interrupt him, but Naruto easily dodged the attack, still with his hands in the same position. "Senpo," Naruto said, and green marks started appearing on his face. The marks formed a loop around his eyes, going onto his cheeks, and they had 2 concentric circles on his forehead. Naruto's Sharingan eyes seemed to start glowing even more than usual. His eyes felt like they were radiating power. "Is he going to?" Akatsuki was thinking, but didn't manage to finish, as Naruto's next words made him forget everything. "Mokuton Hijutsu," Naruto said as he did a snake hand seal, and the ground started shaking. Naruto looked towards Akatsuki, who was panicking and was starting to run for some hand seals as well. "Katon, Sokoku, Crane and Carver," Akatsuki said, and fired a torrent of fire towards Naruto, who had just finished his jutsu. "Chikai! Kotan! Nativity of World Trees," Naruto shouted, and flexed his arms forward, making trees burst from the ground. Hundreds upon hundreds of trees suddenly popped from the ground and started heading towards Akatsuki, destroying everything in their path. The torrent of fire clashed with his wood barrage, but did nothing as the trees easily dissipated the fire. The trees didn't stop or waver at their obstacles and easily reached Akatsuki, who had started evasive maneuvers. The light blue mass was firing wind blades and bombs trying to destroy the onslaught of Naruto's wood attack, but nothing seemed to work. If they destroyed one tree, 2 more would grow from the ground. Akatsuki jumped in the air to avoid the major attack and started maneuvering to avoid being caught, but it was only a matter of time. One tree came from behind and wrapped itself around his left ankle, flinging him onto another set of trees. In the end, Akatsuki was trapped with trees wrapped around his legs and other ones wrapped around his arms. Akatsuki felt pain. This pain was coming from his chest. He looked down only to see a chunk of wood piercing his chest right through his heart. He gave a short, shallow breath as he looked one final time into Naruto's eyes, who seemed to pulse and start spinning. Once the spinning stopped, Akatsuki looked down, and instead of a piece of wood, it was nothing more than Naruto's sword. Akatsuki looked around, and everywhere the trees started to shimmer and simply fade away, as if it was nothing more than a dream. He looked over to his other mask and saw it snare to the ground with Naruto's golden chains. The light blue mask had his mouth pointed into the air, so any jutsu it fired, it would miss. Akatsuki saw everything disappearing and was confused. What is this? Akatsuki asked to Naruto, who was behind him with his hands grasping his sword. You are over 100 years old, and yet you forgot one simple detail, Naruto said, and made his way around Akatsuki standing in front of him. Naruto locked eyes with him and simply said, "Never look into the eyes of Uchiha." Akatsuki's eyes widened in realization. Everything that had happened since the time Naruto started to gather chakra in that strange hand seal was a genjutsu. Naruto played with Akatsuki's experience in Boundless Shodaime to make him believe that Naruto possessed the Mokuton. Naruto had used that as a distraction to permanently end the battle. "Amaterasu," Naruto said, and your light blue mask erupted in black flames and completely disintegrated. Naruto turned to Akatsuki, who, by the looks of it, had just a few more seconds to live. This brat will be trouble in the future, Akatsuki thought just before Naruto removed his sword from his back, and Akatsuki fell to the ground, face first, limp. With all the 5 masks destroyed, Akatsuki had ran out of hearts and was finally in the afterlife. Even though Naruto had won a long battle, he felt something strange about it. All of the Akatsuki members were supposed to be really powerful, and yet this one fell for a simple genjutsu. His battle had been pretty straightforward. Naruto wasn't saying he wasn't powerful, but he felt that Akatsuki standards seemed to be higher. True Naruto's thoughts, the body at Naruto's feet started to spasm. Naruto jumped away, thinking it might be some end-of-the-line suicidal jutsu. Once the body stopped shaking, Naruto approached it cautiously. He would never know just what kind of tricks they may have under their belts, or cloaks for that matter. Naruto looked closely at the body, and his appearance was completely different from Akatsuki. This someone standing dead in front of him was definitely not Akatsuki. This person was about Akatsuki's height, but seemed like a regular Joe. He had brown hair, and his eyes were completely white. He seems to be nothing more than a sacrifice like the others, Naruto thought as he realized something. If he's nothing more than a sacrifice, he was a diversion. Shit! Naruto realized as he focused on Hinata's Hirashin marker and vanished away in a yellow flash. With Kenshin, Hinata, Shikamaru, and Sora. Kenshin, Hinata, Sora, and Shikamaru were inside the sealed iron walls. According to Chiriku, it was the safest place in all the Fire Temple. Only someone who knew the correct hand seal sequence and had the right chakra signature could unlock the doors that led into this area of the temple. Do you think Naruto will be alright? Kenshin asked, slightly afraid for Naruto. He had started to grow fond of the fellow shinobi. Kenshin knew that Naruto was strong, but there were many shinobi around the world, and there was bound to be someone more powerful. He'll be alright, don't worry, Hinata replied, but that didn't seem to ease Kenshin's worries. What makes you so sure? Kenshin asked, surprised to see so much faith placed on Naruto. Because he never gives up, and he never surrenders. It's his Nindo, his shinobi way, Hinata softly replied. If that doesn't put you at ease, maybe this will, Hinata said, and threw Kenshin a copy of the updated bingo book. Page 112, Hinata said, and Kenshin quickly flipped to it. Konoha no Raijin, S rank, Uchiha Madara, Senju Hashirama, Namikaze Minato, Kenshin had his eyes wide at what he found out about Naruto. He was related to the most powerful shinobi to ever live, and if his rank was anything to measure by, he was indeed very powerful. Suddenly, they heard the sealed door unlock, and everyone took fighting stances in front of Kenshin. It might be an enemy, or it might not be, but it was best to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. The door opened, and Chiriku entered the room with a heavily injured Sasuke on his back, barely conscious. What happened? Kenshin asked. He had never seen a shinobi in such bad shape, and he had already seen the 12 shinobi guardians in bad shape. He was defeated, but me and Naruto arrived in time to rescue him, Chiriku explained, and gently placed Sasuke on the ground. Naruto mentioned you were a medic, Chiriku said towards Hinata. I'm trained to be one. Let's see what I can do, Hinata said, and activated Byakugan. Sasuke's injuries were extensive. I can patch him up, but he will need a couple days of rest, Hinata said, and started the mystical palm technique to reset the ribs in place and heal other wounds. Hinata walked towards Sasuke's legs and picked up his ankle. With a sickening twist, she reset the ankle to its proper place and used the mystical palm technique once again. It's done. He'll need to rest his body for a couple of days now, Hinata explained, and Chiriku nodded. They all started to feel a bit at ease when Hinata, Shikamaru, Chiriku, and Sora felt a presence enter the room. They turned around to see someone standing in the middle of the room. He had a black cloak with red clouds, but the most interesting fact was that he was wearing an orange mask with a swirl pattern. Everyone took defensive stances in front of Kenshin as they didn't know who the shinobi's target was. Hinata took a peek into his chakra levels, and they were massive. They were on par with Naruto's chakra levels, and that was saying something. Be careful! His chakra levels are on par with lower level Bijus, Hinata said, and everyone gulped at the new enemy. Looks like Akatsuki already completed his primary objective, Toby thought, looking at the injured form of Sasuke, who was on the ground unconscious. Who are you and what do you want? Hinata asked, not for once looking away from this new enemy. Toby! I'm Toby! So you can call me Toby, Toby said in a childish voice, but Hinata could clearly see the chakra build up in his throat, meaning that this wasn't his real voice. You aren't fooling anyone with that voice, Hinata stated, and Toby's posture changed. You know, Toby started. Your eyes aren't half bad, Toby said, chuckling. What do you want? Hinata stressed out, ignoring his eyes comment. You can say that I'm just looking for a piece of the puzzle, Toby cryptically said. Meaning? Hinata continued, but Toby stayed silent. Hand over to Sujin Chiriki, and I'll take my leave, Toby said, pointing towards Sora. I see, Hinata started. You can't come for Naruto-kun as he's too powerful for you. So you come after the weaker version, Hinata deduced, and Toby chuckled. And before I continue, by the way, dang! Hinata! Calm down! What did Sora do to you? Like, why? Why would you disrespect him like that? Anyways, don't kid yourself, girl. Your boyfriend may be strong, but he's no match against someone like me. And by weaker version, he's just a backup plan, Toby said, laughing. What makes you so sure? Hinata asked, Silver Byakugan blazing. Toby activated Sharingan for Hinata to see who had her eyes widened. He's new Uchiha? Hinata said, and everyone gasped. There was only supposed to be 3 Uchihas alive, and those were Naruto, Sasuke, and Itachi. Who are you? Hinata asked suspiciously. Madara. Uchiha Madara, Toby said with his Sharingan spinning. Everyone was shocked to see that the legendary Uchiha warrior is still alive. Well, everyone but Hinata. Bullshit, Hinata said, and Toby looked carefully at her. Naruto told me that his grandfather was dead, so you are not him, Hinata explained. What makes you so sure? Toby asked, flooding the room with ki. Kenshin was on the floor while the rest of the shinobi were breathing heavily, with only Hinata and Chiriku being able to match it. No matter. I'm taking what I want, Toby said, and dashed towards Sora to capture him. Shikamaru-san, Sora-kun, take care of yourselves, and protect Kenshin-sama. We will take care of him, Chiriku said, and both he and Hinata took defensive stances against the incoming Akatsuki nen. Hinata was in her Senjuken stance, and Chiriku had his right hand lowered with the palm pointing to the ground, while his left one was in front of his chest. Raigo, Senjutsu, welcoming approach, thousand-armed murder, Chiriku said, and his forehead seemed to constrict. Suddenly, semi-transparent arms seemed to form mid-air and start going towards Toby. Hinata used her Byakugan and saw Toby mold chakra in a way that she remembered it from somewhere. As the arms were about to connect with Toby, they simply phased through him. Hinata's eyes widened in realization of the technique Toby was using. She took a closer look at Toby's eyes, and they weren't the center Sharingan, but a completely different form. Toby's eyes had shifted into a Mangekyo Sharingan, and he seemed to be using Naruto's Kami technique. Toby's Mangekyo was blood red with what seemed to be 2 triple wheel patterns overlapping each other. How was he doing this, Shiriku asked, shocked his attacks were ineffective. He had never seen such a technique before. His technique was passing right through the enemy without any obstruction. Toby was nothing more than a ghost at this point. It's a special technique he uses with his Mangekyo Sharingan called Kamui. He's able to dematerialize his body and thus allow any attack to simply pass through him as if he was a ghost or an illusion, Hina explained, and Toby nodded. That was the simplest description he could come up with. How do you know that? Shiriku asked, not losing focus as he kept up his punching barrage. Because Naruto can use it as well, Hinata said, and went into thinking mode. Is he really Madara? He can use the same technique as Naruto-kun, Hinata thought, wondering if Naruto was mistaken regarding his grandfather. So, what do we do? Chiriku asked. There is nothing we can do. He cannot remain intangible indefinitely as there's a timeline for how long he can maintain the technique. However, neither of us are fast enough to capitalize at the moment in which he materializes, Hinata explained, frowning. Naruto explained to her how his technique worked, and there weren't many flaws. Kamui was almost a perfect technique, and a very powerful one at that. So what can we do? Chiriku asked as he dropped his attack. The concentration necessary to maintain the attack was too great, and he could only do it for a couple minutes at max. Stall until Naruto-kun arrives, Hinata simply said, and turned to Shikamaru. Use your shadow to help us, Hinata said, and Shikamaru nodded, crouching on the ground. Shikamaru started to expand his shadow to try and capture Toby. Of course, Toby wouldn't be caught by such weak technique, but it provided Hinata and Chiriku much needed help in distracting the enemy. Toby arrived near Hinata and Chiriku, and they all engaged in taijutsu. Hinata kept a very close eye on Toby's chakra network so she could try and hit him when he became tangible. Hinata backflipped away and looked towards the taijutsu battle between Chiriku and Toby. Chiriku dashed forward and tried to punch him in the chest, only to slip by him and stumble forward. Now! Hinata thought as Toby was about to punch Chiriku on his back. Hake Kusho! Air palm, Hinata said, and sent a wave of compressed air filled with chakra towards Toby. The wave arrived near him and passed right through him and nearly hit Chiriku, who was on the other side. This is going to be hard, Hinata thought, as she rushed Toby to give time for Chiriku to recover. Hinata went for a Juken strike to his chest and faced right through him. Toby turned around only to see Hinata start to spin. Kaiten, Hinata said, and was enveloped in a blue dome of chakra. Toby noticed it and used his Kamui to avoid the Kaiten and jump back. As Toby was about to land, he noticed Shikamaru's shadow was closing in at a very fast pace. Toby simply warped away completely and reappeared on the other side of the room. Hinata and Chiriku recovered and dashed once again towards Toby, who remained in place, seeing them coming. Toby took advantage of the fact that they were on the other side of the room and quickly warped away and reappeared next to Shikamaru. Shikamaru disabled his shadow technique and engaged him in a taijutsu battle. Even he knew that this was a lost battle. Toby phased through a sloppy punch, and once behind Shikamaru, he delivered a quick chop to his neck and kicked him in the back, sending him flying into a nearby wall unconscious. Toby was going to approach Sora when Hinata and Chiriku managed to arrive near them and engage him in taijutsu. Toby used his Kamui and easily outmaneuvered all of them and sent them to the ground with well-located kicks and punches. Kamui was such a useful technique that all he needed was that and taijutsu, and he was able to deal with even the most difficult adversary. Mokuton, Sashiki no Jutsu, cutting technique, Toby said, and from the solid concrete floor sprouted several pieces of wood in the shape of spears. Toby grabbed all of them and sent them towards Hinata and Chiriku, who was getting up. Chiriku got grazed by one spear on his shoulder before Hinata could set up a kaiten. Since Hinata and Chiriku were busy blocking the wind projectiles, Toby calmly walked towards Sora and Kenshin, who were scared. To Sora, this enemy shinobi was estimated as Sensei, who was the most powerful monk in the whole fire temple. To Kenshin, he was scared because he never saw such a powerful shinobi who could take on 4 enemies at once and defeat them like nothing. But then again, if he really was Uchiha Madara, then there was nothing they could do. Let's just do this here, Toby thought as he arrived near Sora and Kenshin. Look at me, Toby said, grabbing Sora by his clothes and forcing him to make eye contact. Sora's pupils became dilated and he gave a shallow breath before his head fell down. Once Sora raised his head, his eyes were now blood red with vertical black slits. His right hand became beastly in appearance as it was completely red with large claws. Toby dropped Sora to the ground and looked towards Kenshin, who was on the verge of a heart attack. Toby noticed something was off of his hands. He raised Kenshin by his collar and looked at his hands to notice that in his palms there were 2 diamond marks overlapping each other. The Meiton bloodline. Excellent. This will speed things up, Toby thought before he focused on Kenshin. Toby's eyes glowed momentarily before he looked directly into Kenshin's eyes. After a couple of seconds, Kenshin's eyes widened and his face became emotionless, with nothing but a blank look and dead eyes. "You know what to do," Toby said, and Kenshin simply walked towards Sora like a zombie. Toby turned towards Nana and Chiriku, who were running towards him at full speed, trying to stop whatever Toby was forcing Kenshin to do. "Mokuton, underground roots," Toby said, and wind roots burst from the ground, pinning Sora. Sora was unleashing more and more of the Kyuubi's chakra, but the wood technique seemed to be able to keep Sora in place. Toby threw a scroll at Kenshin, who caught it and kneeled next to Sora. Kenshin placed his right hand on Sora and his left hand on the scroll. "Meiton, Keiyu Katsuko, Dark Release, Inhaling Ma," Kenshin said, and started absorbing the Kyuubi's chakra from Sora and funneling into a scroll. "What are you doing to them?" Hinata asked, panting and sweating. They were trying their best, but nothing seemed to work. And now, with Shikamaru unconscious, there was nothing they could do but see what Toby had planned. "Nothing you need to be concerned about," Toby said, walking towards them, and then they were trapped with wind roots. Hinata had tried to release wind blades from her chakra points, but the wood was too strong for such a small attack. With one large roar, Sora unleashed the rest of the Kyuubi's chakra and was left on the ground unconscious, with his skin blood red. Unleashing all the chakra he had inside of him burned most of his outer skin. Kenshin finalized the technique and fell to the ground, also unconscious. Toby approached them and picked up the scroll and warped it into his dimension. "And finally, to deal with the witnesses," Toby said, and turned to Hinata and Chiriku, who knew what was coming. Toby took out a kunai and walked towards them. Toby was about to kill them both when he was almost blinded by a bright yellow flash. Naruto appeared in a yellow flash with Raikiri already sparkling in his hand. Naruto tried to stab Toby only to slip through him. "This is my Kamui technique," Naruto thought with his eyes widened. Naruto had completely slipped by him when Toby turned around to stab Naruto in the back, only to also slip through Naruto. They both jumped away from each other, staring at one another. Naruto quickly took out multiple shurikens and infused them with Rain Chakra, threw them at the wind roots, freeing Hinata and Chiriku, who took his side. "Sharingan and Mokuton," Naruto said with his eyes widened. "Who are you?" Naruto asked with his Mangekyo blazing. "What is it with people asking masked men who they are?" Toby rhetorically asked, sighing. "He says he's Uchiha Madara," Hinata said, and Naruto raised an eyebrow in confusion. Naruto placed his hands in the ram seal, making Toby wonder what he was doing. Naruto focused on Toby and started sensing chakra. "You're not Grams," Naruto said, chuckling. But Crumb had a much different expression when his host sensed Toby's chakra. "What makes you say that?" Toby asked, surprised by yet again someone saying that he is an Uchiha Madara. "Your chakra is nowhere like mine," Naruto simply said. "You're half Senju," Toby replied. "True," Naruto agreed. "However, look at me. I have blonde hair and blue eyes, which means my father's genes are dominant, which would mean that my chakra is similar to that of my father and grandfather for that matter," Naruto explained, and Toby scoffed to himself. This whole persona of him being Uchiha Madara was going down the drain. "So," Naruto started. "Who exactly are you?" Naruto asked. "I sense Senju chakra in you, but you are clearly an Uchiha," Naruto stated, observing him carefully.
"Naruto!"
Kurama called out, and Naruto focused on his partner.
"He's the one! He was the one who removed me from your mother and controlled me into attacking Konoha,"
Kurama explained, and Naruto's chakra spiked. The man in front of him was the reason why he had a crappy life and why his parents were dead. Killing intent flooded the whole room. Even though the ki wasn't directed towards Nai and Chiriku, they were both gasping for air. "That's some power you have there," Toby says, a bead of sweat rolled down his face. Not that Naruto could see it. "You were the one responsible for my parents' deaths!" Naruto yelled, powering his ki with the Kyuubi's chakra. "I'm going to kill you!" Naruto shouted and powered his Chidori Nagashi and dashed towards Toby, who was swirling chakra in his right hand. Naruto appeared next to Toby and immediately flashed behind his back and tried to slam a Rasengan through Toby, only to face through him and instead use on the ground, making a large crater. "He's fast," Toby thought, "and nearly got me. I've got to stop underestimating the brat," Toby thought, and instantly pulled two kunais out and threw them as hard as he could towards the unconscious forms of Kenshin and Sora. Naruto's eyes widened when he saw it. The kunais were moving at high speeds and most likely would kill them both. Naruto wouldn't be able to get there in time, and neither Hinata or Chiriku were fast enough. I have to do something, Naruto thought, and considered using his long-range calmly, but the kunais were going too fast, and he wouldn't be able to teleport them, and they were just out of reach of his Hirashi markers. Naruto's eyes glowed and his chakras spiked. The strangest thing happened. Time seemed to freeze. Naruto looked around and everything had stopped. Toby still had his arms in the throwing motion and his kunais were still midair but froze in the same place, as if there was no gravity. He looked towards Hinata and Chiriku, who had running motions and concerned expressions on their faces. Kuronosu, time god, Naruto subconsciously said, and his eyes pulsed just before they started spinning counterclockwise. Naruto was watching as everything was playing itself backwards in slow motion. The kunais were flying backwards into Toby's hands. Hinata and Chiriku were running backwards, and even Naruto himself felt being pulled back, even against his own actions. After everything rolled back, Naruto was on top of Toby's body, with his Rasengan in his hand, about to slam into Toby again. Naruto's eyes pulsed once again, and everything resumed. Naruto faced right through Toby and smashed Rasengan into the ground. Naruto didn't know what happened, but he wasn't going to take any chances, and immediately threw Hirashi kunais at the exact same time as Toby did, intercepting them. How did he know I was going to do that, Toby wondered and thought. Toby jumped back to gain some distance and started observing Naruto, who had shock splashed across his face. Kurama, what the hell happened? Naruto asked his partner, who was speechless.
I think you roll back time,
Kurama replied, and Naruto's jaw dropped. Just what kind of power did his eyes have? Although, it did make sense, as Naruto was able to see what would happen, and then it happened exactly as it was supposed to happen. So Naruto either rolled back time, or he took a peek into the future. Naruto-kun, what's wrong? Hinata asked, snapping Naruto out of his thoughts. I think I might have unlocked another Mangekyo ability, Naruto said, still in disbelief of what he had done. He had done something that was unheard of. Naruto didn't travel back in time. No, he forced time to roll itself back. Really? Hinata asked, surprised, and Naruto slowly nodded. What does it do? Hinata asked. I'll tell you later. Now, we have a worm to deal with, Naruto said, locking eyes with Toby. Amaterasu is useless, as is Tsukuyomi, and this new power, I don't know how to control it, Naruto thought. I'm at a disadvantage, and I already have what I want, Toby thought to himself, and turned to Naruto. Until we meet again, Toby said, and warped away, leaving no trace of him. He's gone, Naruto said, and sat down thinking about everything that had happened. How is everyone? Naruto asked. Shikamaru, Kenshin, and Sora are unconscious. Me and Chiriku are just tired with a couple bruises. About Sasuke, I did reset his bones to their proper locations, but he still needs to rest, and I explained, and Naruto nodded. Good, Naruto said, happy that everyone was alive. Let's clean this mess up, Naruto said, but Hinata interrupted him. You should know that Sora no longer has the Kyuubi's chakra in him, Hinata said, and Naruto was surprised. What happened? Naruto asked, and Hinata informed him of what happened. How this Toby character had controlled Kenshin into removing the Kyuubi's chakra from Sora and sealing it into a scroll that Toby took. I guess in the end, everything worked out for the best, Naruto said, and everyone went to collect their friends to take them to the infirmary to heal up. 2 days later. In the last 2 days, everyone had recovered from their injuries, including Sasuke, who, somehow, seemed to brood even more than usual and throw himself into training even harder than usual. Chiriku and the rest of the monks had finished the cleanup and had already reconstructed the destroyed gates. During these 2 days, the Fire Daimyo and his protection arrived, and he was shocked to know of what had happened. He thanked Naruto and his team for helping defend the Fire Temple and keeping his grandson safe. The Fire Daimyo had even asked Naruto if he would like to join the 12 Shinobi Guardians. Naruto politely refused, saying that he had a group of criminals after the Kyuubi and that it would place the Fire Daimyo in even more danger than he already was. Everyone from Naruto's team was gathered up at the gate ready to leave. Give my regards to Asuma, Chiriku said, and Shikamaru nodded. Next time we meet, I want to spar with you, Kenshin said towards Naruto, who chuckled and nodded in acceptance. You are a new man, Sora, Naruto said towards the overjoyed Sora, who was happy that this malefic chakra was gone. I know, Sora replied and shook Naruto's hand. See you all, Naruto said, and they all left the Fire Temple heading back to Konoha. Naruto looked to Sasuke, who was scowling at something. You are alright, Sasuke? Naruto asked. Mind your own business, Senju, Sasuke replied, and Naruto flinched his tone, but left him alone. How? How can I be so weak? He destroyed me in minutes, and Naruto was able to defeat him, Sasuke thought, seething. He had to gain power, and fast. I don't feel like walking, Naruto said, and without warning anyone, he pulled them all into a hug, and he rationed them back to Konoha. Hokage's office. Tsunade was having a normal day. She had a pen in one hand, a ball of sake on the other, and a sack of papers in front. Just another normal day for the busty Hokage. Tsunade was signing a piece of paper when she saw a bright yellow flash. She placed that paper back on the desk and saw Naruto sitting there smiling at her, while the rest of the team was on the ground seeing stars. Mission accomplished, Bachin, Naruto said, and Tsunade motioned for him to report. She was shocked to find out what had happened at the Fire Temple. The Akatsuki are getting bolder if they're willing to unleash a direct attack at the Fire Temple, Tsunade mused out loud. And even worse, that Toby fell, Tsunade said. According to the QB, Toby was the one responsible for the attack 14 years ago. I will look into this when Jiraiya is back in town, Tsunade said, and turned to his team. Good job. You are dismissed, Tsunade said, and everyone left the office and headed to their homes. Want to eat something, Hinata said, grabbing Naruto by his arm and resting her head on his shoulder. Why not, Naruto said, shrugging. Ichiraku ramen? Here we go, Naruto yelled, and Hinata giggled. And that is the end of chapter 31, the last chapter of this video. Thank you all for watching this fanfic read of chapters 29 through 31. And in the next 3 chapters, we will be going over the Sasuke retrieval arc. And that will be very eventful, if I do say so myself. Well, I have already read this entire fanfic before, so I know what happens. But, you know, let me just tell you this, it's going to be really crazy. I mean, chapter 31 might have given us a slight spoiler of what's about to happen, or a bit of a setup. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I'll just again say this. You guys are going to love the Sasuke retrieval arc in this fanfic. I'll just say that right now. Anyways, in terms of other stuff, again, watch out for what if Kakashi was Uchiha, as again, that's going to be coming out probably on Saturday, or maybe Sunday, who knows. Depends on my mood. And there's also going to be some other stuff that's going to be coming out in between. I got some other projects that are coming out, such as Uzumaki Tales, Return of Whirlpool, as another fanfic I'm going to be reading on this channel, as again, that is one of my favorites of all time. And some other stuff in between, so stay tuned for those videos. And in terms of other stuff, yeah, well, first off, watch me give me a tap like a hawk. Second of all, if you have any fanfics that you want me to read, be it MHA, Naruto, DBZ, or anything else, comment the name of the fanfic, and this is important, link the actual fanfic where I can read it. Okay? Got it? Alright, good. Follow me on Twitter at MSH4. As you guys can not only get another way to get notified of my videos, but you also get to see some funny stuff over there and some more fun stuff in between. So again, follow me on Twitter at MSH4, Instagram MA_H4. You get to follow me there for memes and just about it. Yep, just memes, and yeah, that's about it. It's Instagram. What do you expect? But again, just follow me over there. It's kind of worth it, you know. Anyways, join my Discord server, which is linked down in the description. There, you can suggest me ideas directly, you can interact with me directly, and you get to have some other fun stuff in between. One of those being seeing the thumbnails for my latest videos before they go up on my community tab and eventually be made into a video. So again, follow me on Twitter at MSH4, Instagram Amy_Stage4, and join my Discord server. Alright, in terms of our stuff, shout out to my $10 patrons. Their names are on screen and my $50 patron Anguish. If you want to support and get rewards to shouts like these, go check my Patreon. That's linked down in the description. And finally, follow me on Twitch for my podcast streams. Those are pretty lit there. Oh yeah, one more thing. Let's get to 42k and eventually 50k. And that's about it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and share the video. This has been your boy, the Anime Sage. Sign out. Peace. Yortha. 70 Shay. Close out. Bye-bye. Peace.
Hi, this is Stephanie Shea, voice actress for Sailor Moon, Hinata, Orihime, and you are watching Anime Sage.